Chapter 1001. I like him. Yang Zilan moved back, obstructing their way while saying, Miss Cho, he can't go. Why? Asked Cho Yuxian coldly. That guy and I need to settle some issues. He can't go. I hope you understand, said Yang Zilan in a seemingly polite way. What if I refuse and want him to stay with me? Said Cho Yuxian even more coldly. Yang Zilan's smile became rigid. Why was Cho Yuxian protecting Lin Feng? As far as I know, you two are not friends, said Yang Zilan coldly. No, we're more than that. I like him. You have a problem with that? Said Cho Yuxian coldly. Yang Zilan and his group were dumbstruck. The cold-hearted beauty Cho Yuxian liked Lin Feng? They couldn't believe it. Impossible. Why would Cho Yuxian like someone like Lin Feng? An ordinary cultivator at the bottom of the Tianqi layer. Cho Yuxian's social status was very high. Many people courted her. Many outstanding men liked her. But she had never shown interest for anyone. She had always enjoyed being alone and solitary. Cho Yuxian being with a man was already abnormal, but going up the stairs with him and saying she liked him was even worse. Yang Zilan and Cho Junluo couldn't stand hearing such things. Cho Yuxian said she liked Lin Feng. Lin Feng himself was dumbstruck. She said she liked him in such a normal way. A beautiful girl who looked like Xian Yi was saying that she liked him. Cho Yuxian, no need to joke to protect him. We know perfectly well that you couldn't possibly like someone like him, said Yang Ziyi coldly. Lin Feng, come here, said Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng walked closer to her. Suddenly, Cho Yuxian stretched her hand, grabbed Lin Feng's neck, pulled him towards her and smiled in a resplendent way. Yang Zilan and the others were dumbstruck. Their hearts were pounding violently. Who do you think you are? Yang Ziyi, don't think that you're better than others. Apart from your powerful blood strength, what makes you think you're different from ordinary people? Said Cho Yuxian angrily. Yang Ziyi was dumbstruck. Move away now. Otherwise we'll have to fight, said Cho Yuxian while releasing ice-cold energies. Yang Zilan pulled a long face and glanced at Lin Feng, now smiling. Miss Cho, I don't want to offend you. I'll forgive him this time. Yang Zilan then slowly moved away. Forgive? Lin Feng glanced at him sharply. Those people were incredibly shameless. Lin Feng, I'm not in a good mood anymore. Let's go back, said Cho Yuxian coldly, dragging Lin Feng back. Yang Zilan and the others looked at Lin Feng and Cho Yuxian leave. They were furious, but they didn't understand why did Cho Yuxian like Lin Feng. Lin Feng and Cho Yuxian ran down the steps very quickly. The oppressive forces were less significant than before. Cho Yuxian wasn't holding Lin Feng's arm anymore. She was going in one direction and didn't even look back at Lin Feng, who was behind her. Lin Feng stopped and looked at her from behind. He felt like he was melting. Little boy, you should go with her. Or don't you dare. Mak Chongqi. Mind your own business, said Lin Feng. Then his silhouette flickered and he followed Cho Yuxian. There's no need to follow me, said Cho Yuxian coldly. Lin Feng didn't know how to react, so he decided to continue following her. After that, she didn't tell him not to follow her again. They arrived in a hotel restaurant and ordered some food together. Cho Yuxian remained silent. Lin Feng remained silent too. He just sat opposite her and said nothing. After a long time, Cho Yuxian suddenly asked, You said your wife and me look exactly the same? Indeed, nodded Lin Feng. Well then, don't you think that we've known each for a very long time? Asked Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled and asked, Have you always been in Bahuang province? Indeed, I've never left Bahuang province, but then again, why do I have the feeling I've known you for a very long time? Asked Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng was surprised. Know him for a very long time? Cho Yuxian had that feeling and she looked exactly the same as Xian Yi. I've never been to Bahuang province before, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile while shaking his head. It's so strange, maybe that your wife and I have common ancestors, said Cho Yuxian smiling wryly. She felt confused. The first time she had seen Lin Feng, she had that feeling as well. That's why she asked Lin Feng to take her on his boat. After that, Lin Feng touched her cheek. Before meeting Lin Feng, if anyone had done that to her, she would have killed them instantly. She was very choleric. But with Lin Feng, she hadn't gotten that angry. On the contrary, she had the feeling she knew him. That feeling was also intensifying. She even started to have feelings for him now. Things were moving so sudden that it scared her. She didn't understand what was happening in her heart. Stay with me. Yang Zilan is evil, but if you stay with me, he won't dare touch you, said Cho Yuxian standing up. Then they left. In Tianjing City, not far from Tiantai, they found a hotel room in a beautiful courtyard. They had to rest. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process was going to start shortly. At night, Cho Yuxian was sitting on a stone bench. She raised her head and looked at the moon. She was pensive. Why? Why was her heart pounding when she thought about him or just looked at him? At that moment, she heard some steps as someone sat down next to her. She didn't need to turn around though, she knew who it was. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process will start in about 2 weeks. You need to practice cultivation. There will be many geniuses and princes. It won't be easy to succeed and become an imperial cultivation disciple, Cho Yuxian said in a low voice. She was still looking at the sky. She didn't look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng put his arm on Cho Yuxian's shoulder, which made her shiver. She looked at him and smiled. You're not interested in me, right? You don't want me to become your wife? Lin Feng shook his head. You're not her. You are two completely different people. Who's more attractive, me or her? Asked Cho Yuxian. You're completely different, two different sorts of attractiveness, that is, replied Lin Feng. Is that so? Said Cho Yuxian with a resplendent smile. In the moonlight, she garnished a different level of beauty. What if I said I wanted you to marry me, would you? Suddenly asked Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng smiled and said, of course, if you wanted to, I would. But with your social status, how could you be interested in a nobody like me? That's not true. Maybe I really do like you, like I said last time, said Cho Yuxian. She was so cute and beautiful. Lin Feng's heart was pounding. Well, even better for me then, said Lin Feng shrugging. Hug me, said Cho Yuxian with a captivating smile. Lin Feng shivered. Hug her. Chapter 1002. Come up. After a few seconds, Lin Feng opened his arms and hugged her. How dare you? Shouted Cho Yuxian furiously and slapped Lin Feng with all her strength. Lin Feng was speechless as he released demon sealing strength to block her arms before she could slap him. You asked me to hug you, said Lin Feng annoyed. Because I said that, you believed me. You're so perverted, said Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng was speechless. Women are complicated. Fwop, fwop, fwop. She released shadow-like fists filled with strong energies. A strong wind blew behind them. After a while, the atmosphere calmed down. 2 people walked into a room. One of them had their clothes torn apart and their hair looked chaotic. That was, of course, Lin Feng. He had fought against Cho Yuxian for a long time, but she was much stronger than him. She had broken through to the 7th Tianqi layer. Lin Feng had had no chance against her. How shameful, said Chongqi mockingly. A girl had won against him. What a humiliation. Piss off, said Lin Feng, pushing Chongqi away. Roar. Lin Feng punched Chongqi a few times. Bastard, you actually punched me, said Chongqi furiously. He released flames and lit Lin Feng's clothes on fire. Poor Lin Feng. A girl had bullied him and now his pet was bullying him. On the 3rd day in Tianjing City, in the district of Tiantai, many people were talking about Cho Yuxian. She had fallen in love with a boy who had only broken through to the 3rd Tianqi layer, and who was a piece of trash without social status. They even held hands when walking outside. Everybody was talking about it. Cho Yuxian was famous and her clan was prestigious. She had a high cultivation level, natural abilities, and she was quite strong. Many people tried to flirt with her, but no one had managed to make her smile. However, she had fallen in love with a guy who had just arrived in the province, who was at the bottom of the Tianqi layer, and who had stolen a boat plus 1,000 abstruse crystals from the Yang clan for saving Yang Ziyi. In other words, he was shameless. What people said, to sum up, was that the great Cho Yuxian had fallen in love with a piece of trash. Those who were in love with Cho Yuxian wanted to humiliate Lin Feng. Maybe she would forget about him then. Of course, those who were the most shocked by the news weren't random people, but Cho Yuxian's clan. Yang Ziyi wanted someone like Xian Yuan. He was strong and powerful. He possessed a powerful blood too. Cho Yuxian was better than Yang Ziyi, so she should have chosen someone better than Xian Yuan, but no, she hadn't. Cho Yuxian had never liked anyone before, so her clan had always thought that she would find someone outstanding, such as Xian Yuan. Unfortunately, she had fallen in love with some weaker than him. She wasn't as intelligent as Yang Ziyi, it seemed. The Cho clan was concerned, so they had to find Cho Yuxian. Very quickly, people found out where she was staying in the Tiantai district. Many strong cultivators gathered around the simple hotel, and many others followed them to see what would happen. Cho Yuxian knew that those people were there, so she came out. She looked indifferent and cold when she said, "What are you doing here?" "We came for you and the one you say you like," said the leader of the group. It was a young man in white clothes. He had come to become an imperial cultivation disciple. Most were young men, but there were a few older men. "Mind your own business, will you?" said Cho Yuxian coldly. "Yuxian, when the elders are not here, I'm basically your big brother. I need to take care of you. Our clan has existed for such a long time. If people of our clan want to get married, everybody in the clan must agree. At that, people of our clan can only marry outstanding people. You're very gifted, you're very strong, you can't make the wrong decision now." "Indeed, sister, we need to see the one you say you like to tell you if he's acceptable," said a young woman smiling. She sounded terribly hypocritical though. The crowd remained silent. Those people were rich and powerful. Cho Yuxian enjoyed being alone because those people weren't honest with her. They didn't really care, they were just hypocritical. "Mind your own business. My heart tells me who to like and it has nothing to do with you. Leave now," said Cho Yuxian. "Sister, we all came to see him, come on," said the girl mockingly. She had always been hostile to Cho Yuxian in the clan. "Shut the hell up," shouted Cho Yuxian furiously to the girl. "Cho Mei, if you came here to make fun of me, you can leave." "How noisy," said someone at that moment. A young man came out of the small house. Just like the rumors said, it was an ordinary and simple cultivator at the bottom of the Tianqi layer. He had only broken through to the third Tianqi layer. Lin Feng had just changed his clothes. He glanced at the crowd inside. Cho Yuxian had such a high social status. Lin Feng glanced at the crowd and as accepted, everybody was there: Yang Zilan, Yang Ziyi, Cho Junluo. They were trying to tarnish Cho Yuxian's reputation. "Sister, don't tell me you fell in love with this piece of trash," said Cho Mei mockingly. "Shut the hell up." Cho Yuxian suddenly released energies, but Cho Mei still looked at Cho Yuxian with a cold smile. "Indeed, he's the one I love. Are you satisfied now?" "Fuck off now, all of you," said Cho Yuxian coldly. She admitted that she liked Lin Feng, a cultivator at the bottom Tianqi layer. Chapter 1003. Kiss Kiss. "Yuxian, that's fine, but shouldn't you think about our clan? Do you think they will like him?" asked Cho Mei smiling. "I don't care. I can live the life I want," said Cho Yuxian coldly. "Since that's what you want, I can't say anything," said Cho Mei with a smile. She turned to Lin Feng and said smiling, "Do you actually think you deserve to be loved by my sister?" "Your name is Lin Feng," said Cho Mei smiling at Lin Feng, but that smile was evil, despising, arrogant. "Indeed," replied Lin Feng indifferently and expressionlessly. "Do you know who my sister is?" said Cho Mei smiling. "I know. You said it a few times already, the Cho clan," said Lin Feng. "Since you know, I'll tell you something. Yuxian is a young woman of my clan and is quite outstanding. She's famous, many men want to marry her, of them, many are way stronger than you. So let me ask you, even though she likes you, do you deserve that love? Do you think you are a good match?" said Cho Mei. Everybody was staring at Lin Feng. It didn't matter if Cho Yuxian liked Lin Feng. He was a cultivator at the bottom of the Tianqi layer. Could he be with her? What does that have to do with you? Do I need you to tell me how to live my life? Just who do you think you are? Said Lin Feng coldly. Cho Mei was surprised and smiled coldly. You have to be somewhat aware of the situation. You're just a nobody. Do you think an ant can follow dragons to become a dragon? Let me tell you something now, you should be careful with that stinky mouth of yours. Nobody will ever want you if you keep talking like that, said Lin Feng mockingly. Cho Mei was furious. You want to die, said Cho Mei. Nobody had ever humiliated her. She hadn't thought Lin Feng would lose his temper too. Lin Feng, come here, said Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng walked towards Cho Yuxian. Hug me, said Cho Yuxian with an infatuating smile. The crowd was astonished. The ice-hearted girl suddenly looked so warm in front of Lin Feng, he made her melt. The guys who were there couldn't stand seeing her act like that with another man. Lin Feng was suddenly drenched in cold sweat. Was she serious? You don't dare, said Cho Yuxian using telepathy. She was still smiling at Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Why wouldn't I, said Lin Feng. He then stretched his hands and put them around her waist. Cho Yuxian shivered and became rigid. She looked nervous. The crowd was astonished. The members of the Cho clan looked furious. Those who liked Cho Yuxian were furious. They all wanted to kill Lin Feng. His hands were now on her waist. Cho Yuxian smiled shyly. She looked so sweet. The crowd was getting even more furious. Cho Yuxian turned around and wrapped herself up in Lin Feng's arms. She looked at the crowd coldly and said, "Nobody can tell me who I can like. If someone dares touch him, I will kill them. Now fuck off." Cho Yuxian then released ice energies and a cold moon appeared above her. A cold autumn moon, just like her name suggested. The moon looked solitary and cold. Cho Mei frowned and turned deathly pale. She didn't want to fight Cho Yuxian. "Piss off," said Cho Yuxian coldly. Cho Mei frowned and said, "All right, sister. Let's hope the clan will not be furious. I hope that you two will always be happy." Cho Mei was furious. By saying let's hope the clan will not be furious, she was threatening Cho Yuxian. Cho Mei coldly glanced at Lin Feng and then everybody left. One of the most beautiful girls in Ba Huang had fallen in love with a nobody. What a tragedy. Remembering Cho Yuxian's beautiful smile when she looked at Lin Feng made them even more furious. Cho Yuxian looked at those people leave. Lin Feng was shivering. Her spirit was incredible. Cho Yuxian turned around and left. She went back into the room without saying anything. Lin Feng followed her. Cho Yuxian turned around and smiled at Lin Feng. "What? You want to hug me again?" "If you'd allow me," said Lin Feng shrugging. "You're audacious. You actually dared to hug me in front of so many people. Are you not scared of the Cho clan? Are you not afraid for your future?" Cho Yuxian was smiling in a resplendent way. She was staring at Lin Feng and looked impatient to hear his reply. "I've always been audacious," said Lin Feng smiling. "Besides, how could I refuse when you asked me so sweetly? You're too beautiful." "You're glib-tongued, but have you never thought of the consequences?" "No, I haven't," said Lin Feng shaking his head. He was still smiling. She walked towards Lin Feng, slowly and gracefully. She got very close to him. It seemed like she was trying to arouse him. "By acting like that, it means that you will marry me, would you dare?" asked Cho Yuxian in a gentle way. Her breath was brushing against Lin Feng's face. It was difficult for Lin Feng to control himself. He stretched his hands and put his arms around her waist. Cho Yuxian shivered and looked at him. "You've got balls. I told you. Since what I did means we're going to get married, why wouldn't I dare?" "Is that so? Kiss me then," said Cho Yuxian, approaching her lips towards Lin Feng's face and slowly closing her eyes. She was so beautiful. Lin Feng couldn't resist. His mouth approached hers. Boom! A terrifying cold energy surrounded Lin Feng. It was piercingly cold. "Seal!" shouted Lin Feng and released sealing strength. He was firmly holding her in his arms and sealed her pure qi. Cho Yuxian opened her eyes. Lin Feng had anticipated her move. "You dare," said Cho Yuxian coldly. "I told you, why wouldn't I?" said Lin Feng, and then he kissed her. It was as if a lightning had pierced through her body. Lin Feng then abruptly turned around and left as fast as he could. Chong Chi looked furious as Lin Feng left. "I didn't see anything," said Chong Chi. Lin Feng grinded his teeth. Chong Chi was shameless. Chapter 1004. Terrifying flight of stairs. That night, Lin Feng was in his room, practicing cultivation. Boom boom. A sound interrupted his focus. Someone opened the room abruptly. Lin Feng opened his eyes and smiled wryly. "What? Am I not welcome here?" said Cho Yuxian, smiling gently. "Of course you are." Cho Yuxian entered the room. Lin Feng's heart started pounding as he smiled. "I just wouldn't have thought you'd come in the middle of the night. Did you miss me that much?" I was alone in my room since you didn't come. I came, said Cho Yuxian, smiling while getting closer to Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt like he was melting when he looked at her smile. Was she joking again? If you had told me to earlier, I would have come, said Lin Feng, touching her face. Cho Yuxian didn't reject him. She smiled at him and whispered, do you enjoy it? Yes, very much so, said Lin Feng, nodding. I want to please you, said Cho Yuxian. Suddenly, her smile disappeared and the room became ice cold. Lin Feng seemed surprised. However, he had anticipated her attack again. He immediately released blood strength, otherwise she could injure him with that strength. Boom, boom, boom. It seemed like there was a war in that room. It started shaking and it completely collapsed. When they stopped, Lin Feng was out of breath. His clothes were torn and Cho Yuxian's punches had left bruises on his skin. He lost again. If you can't even defeat me, how could you confront my clan? Said Cho Yuxian coldly. Then she turned around and said, follow me. Where are we going? Shouted Lin Feng. Tiantai, we need to become Imperial Cultivation disciples, said Cho Yuxian without turning around. Lin Feng just followed with a wry smile. Chongqi was still lying outside of the cabin. Lin Feng was pissed off that Chongqi was peeking on them. You bastard, said Lin Feng coldly. Then he followed Cho Yuxian. After the two left, Cho Yuxian looked at Cho Yuxian from behind, looking rather pensive. That girl fell in love with Lin Feng so fast. Could it be? Whispered Chongqi. Chongqi didn't think about it much longer. He couldn't be sure. He was wondering if it was a very good or a very bad thing for Lin Feng. Cho Yuxian and Lin Feng arrived at the bottom of the flight of stairs. It was the middle of the night and the moon was shining on the flight of stairs. We still have a dozen days to go to get up those 18,000 steps. We need to train. If we're trained, we won't have to worry about my clan. We have to become Imperial Cultivation disciples, we must, said Cho Yuxian, looking at the moon. Lin Feng looked at her but said nothing. Cho Yuxian didn't like that. She looked at him and said, did you hear what I said? I have to become an Imperial Cultivation disciple so that I can marry you without your clan opposing our union, right? Said Lin Feng, smiling before adding, it seems like you really decided to marry me. Cho Yuxian looked at him and smiled in a mischievous way. We hugged and kissed already, don't you want to push things further? Of course I do. I am a responsible person, said Lin Feng when he saw that Cho Yuxian looked scared. Well, let's go up then, said Cho Yuxian, still smiling. Lin Feng didn't say much. He immediately started going up the stairs. Even though it was the middle of the night, Lin Feng and Cho Yuxian weren't the only ones running up. Cho Yuxian and Lin Feng were very fast as the wind. They soon climbed 3,000 steps and the pressure was already monstrous. You're too slow. Keep up with me, said Cho Yuxian while turning around and smiling at Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and calmly followed. Despite the oppressive energies, Lin Feng's speed didn't change. After a while, Lin Feng and Cho Yuxian arrived on the 10,000th step. The energy was incredibly oppressive, they could barely breathe. It was as if they were carrying mountains on their backs. You alright? Asked Cho Yuxian to Lin Feng. 10,000 steps, that's nothing. Of course I'm alright, said Lin Feng, smiling. He had wrapped himself up in wind and tent, of course he was alright. He just paused for a few seconds to take a breath. Then he started flying up the stairs again. Cho Yuxian followed him. Very quickly they reached the 13,000th step. Lin Feng didn't stop this time and directly climbed up to the 15,000th step. Cho Yuxian's eyes were twinkling. She kept looking at Lin Feng's back. She was already getting out of breath and was sweating profusely. She needed to stop for a few seconds to breathe, but Lin Feng didn't stop. How can he stand the pressure? Is his blood made of iron or what? Whispered Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng hadn't stopped at all. Not only did he rely on his strength, but also on his blood strength. If a cultivator had a weak blood, they could explode under this pressure. When Cho Yuxian reached the 16,000th step, she couldn't stand it anymore and finally stopped. She looked at Lin Feng, who hadn't stopped, and shouted, out of breath, Lin Feng, wait for me. She sounded fragile and innocent. Lin Feng turned around and looked at her, smiling. The cold-hearted and solitary girl looked completely exhausted. Who told you to go up so fast? Said Cho Yuxian. Lin Feng remained speechless. She had told him to hurry up a few times. Let's breathe deeply. We have 2,000 more steps to climb after all, said Cho Yuexin. After a few minutes, her eyes started twinkling again and she said, let's continue. All right. Lin Feng nodded and they continued climbing the stairs. The oppressive force was becoming unbearable. The strength everyone differently. The stronger a cultivator was, the more oppressive the force was. Therefore, the force oppressing Cho Yuexin was more intense than the force oppressing Lin Feng. After an hour, they reached the 17,000th step. A terrifying force was oppressing them. Cho Yuexin stopped again and looked at Lin Feng. You bastard, how come your blood is so strong? I never said my blood was weak, said Lin Feng. Cho Yuexin smiled again and said, we reached the 17,000th step. I overestimated the difficulty of the stairs. We will soon reach Tiantai. The two of them continued climbing the stairs. The oppressive forces were incredibly intense by this point. It felt like their blood was going to explode under that pressure. We're almost there, said Lin Feng, raising his head. 17,900 steps. 100 more to go. Phew. Cho Yuexin could barely breathe. She smiled and said, right, almost. 100 more. We can do it. Then she condensed pure chi and walked up 18 more steps, 82 more. Boom! She made another step and turned all red. But she smiled and said, Lin Feng, 81 more steps. She looked excited, only 81 more steps. Boom boom. The oppressive force felt like a mountain had suddenly fallen onto her. Her body was propelled backwards and blood splashed out of her mouth. Chapter 1005. As hard as reaching the clouds, Lin Feng looked at her. He was startled. He quickly jumped and tried to grab her. Boom boom boom. He caught her in his arms and boom. The oppressive force was suddenly so much more powerful. Let me go, you can't stand two levels of oppressive force at the same time, said Cho Yuexin. Lin Feng firmly held her in his arms while his blood boiled. He managed to reduce the shaking and lay her on a step. They had fallen down of a few dozen steps. Are you all right? Asked Lin Feng, wiping the blood off the corner of her mouth. It was unbearable for Lin Feng to see Cho Yuexin injured. I'm all right. Cho Yuexin jumped out of Lin Feng's arms and sat down on a step. She looked at him perplexed. She hadn't thought Lin Feng's blood was so strong. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had managed to catch her in his arms and stand her oppressive force along with his. How could he manage that? Especially seeing how she couldn't. What happened? Asked Lin Feng. She had only 81 steps to go and was propelled away. The strength of those stairs is terrifying, said Cho Yuexin. I'll try, said Lin Feng. Very quickly, he arrived where Cho Yuexin was. Be careful, Lin Feng, it's really scary, warned Cho Yuexin. They were alone at that height. Many people couldn't stand the force and had to train to get higher. Lin Feng and Cho Yuexin had used lots of blood strength and pure chi to get there. 18,000 steps, said someone at that moment. Lin Feng Cho Yuexin looked over and saw someone standing there. Someone from Tiantai. Lin Feng and Cho Yuexin looked at that person. Someone was already at the top, they had to be from Tiantai. That person wore normal clothes and looked both calm and simple. That person was wearing a necklace and had no hair at all. Is that a Buddhist monk? Whispered Lin Feng to himself. That person looked like a Buddhist monk. But Cho Yuexin said something else, Sadu. The last 81 steps are the most difficult. Reaching the clouds is as hard as climbing those last steps. You should come back for the exam, said the sadhu in a low voice but was distinct. As hard as reaching the clouds, whispered Lin Feng. Those last steps were the real exam. The first step to becoming an imperial cultivation disciple was to climb up the whole flight of stairs. Master, how many do we have to climb to pass the exam? Asked Cho Yuexin to the young sadhu. Even though he was young, they understood that he was also probably a very strong cultivator. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in Tiantai and wouldn't be there to protect the flight of stairs. Those 81 steps are divided into 9 different sorts of steps. Each group of 9 steps contains different sorts of oppressive strength. Going up 2 groups is enough to qualify, replied the sadhu. Cho Yuexin looked at Lin Feng. 2 groups is like 10 floors, 9 groups must be very difficult then. Master, can I try? Asked Lin Feng to the sadhu. The sadhu smiled and said, Today you can't. But since we're old friends, try taking a step. Old friends? Lin Feng was confused. He looked at the sadhu, but he didn't know him. Why was he saying that they were old friends? Master, do you know me? Asked Lin Feng. He was too curious. Lin Feng, said the sadhu. Lin Feng was astonished. He knew him. Qiu Yuxian was also astonished. The sadhu knew Lin Feng. What was going on? Someone from Tiantai, an emperor's personal disciple, knew Lin Feng. Qiu Yuxian smiled at Lin Feng in a resplendent way and said, "You still have many things to tell me." Lin Feng was speechless. He looked at Qiu Yuxian and said, "You never asked either," but then Lin Feng looked at the sadhu again and said, "But I've never seen you. Where do you know me from?" "From my second fellow disciple," said the sadhu smiling. Then he said, "All right, Lin Feng, do your best to become an imperial cultivation disciple. You'll understand then." Second fellow disciple. Lin Feng was astonished. He suddenly remembered the one Qiongqi always called a real genius, the second personal disciple of Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu, Ho Qinglin. Indeed, that had to be him. Ho Qinglin had come to Ganyu and helped Lin Feng a few times. But Lin Feng still didn't understand why. Ho Qinglin was so powerful he even humiliated people like Xian Yuan. In front of Ho Qinglin, Lin Feng was a speck of dust. Why did he attach so much importance to Lin Feng? Besides, he had helped him a few times. Lin Feng was astonished. Qiu Yuxian's smile was even brighter. That guy surprisingly knew people from Tiantai, and on top of that, sadhus. His social status was directly much higher. Qiu Mei and the others wouldn't be disrespectful to him if they knew that. The Yang clan either. He wouldn't have been humiliated when he accompanied Yang Ziyi back to her clan. Qiu Yuxian was impatient to see Lin Feng become an imperial cultivation disciple. Those people would be surprised to see that Lin Feng knew Tiantai's people. Lin Feng started going up again, his blood was boiling. The strength contained in the steps depended on the cultivator's strength. However, Lin Feng's strength was a lot higher compared to his cultivation level. Therefore, the steps in front of him weren't difficult to climb. It was extremely difficult for Qiu Yuxian because her strength was the same as her cultivation level, if not lower. Qiu Yuxian was wondering if Lin Feng could climb the first 99 steps. Lin Feng slowly started going up. Boom boom boom. A powerful oppressive force crashed onto Lin Feng's back. The oppressive force there was even more intense than the previous steps. Lin Feng's clothes and hair were fluttering in the whistling wind. Qiu Yuxian was nervous. She was staring at Lin Feng motionless. Lin Feng was incredibly persistent. He used his demon strength as well as his strength of the Buddha. Right now, he was strong enough to kill a cultivator of the 5th Tianqi layer and even ordinary cultivators of the 6th Tianqi layer. He slowly walked up. Explosions sounded as Lin Feng persevered. The force was rolling in the sky. 80 more steps to go. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling with sharp lights. His blood seemed like it was going to explode. Qiu Yuxian's nervousness slowly faded and she smiled. Lin Feng was incredible. Lin Feng had just succeeded where she had failed. Chapter 1006. Calmly understanding the flight of stairs, the sadhu smiled and nodded at Lin Feng. The first part of the exam shouldn't be too difficult for you. On the day of the exam, we'll see if you can finish. Thank you, master, said Lin Feng politely. He then turned around and went down the stairs. The sadhu had given him the opportunity to try. Lin Feng wanted to continue going up, but he already had the opportunity to do more than was allowed for others. He had to be content. The sadhu turned around and left. Lin Feng couldn't sense the energies coming from upstairs anymore. Each step had a hidden force. Nobody knew how it would be. Not bad, even the master said you would have no problem during the first part of the exam, said Qiu Yuxian smiling. I wonder if there are several rounds. The master made it sound like there were, said Lin Feng. The first part was already difficult. Even some talented cultivators would find it difficult. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process can't be easy. There are many other emperors in Bahuang province. They also recruit imperial cultivation disciples, but too many people try to become their imperial cultivation disciples. They already have so many disciples. It's not that interesting to be part of gigantic groups as an imperial cultivation disciple. This time it's different. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu are organizing their first recruitment process. The ones who succeed will become the emperor's direct disciples. Many geniuses came from many other parts of Ba Huang province as well, not only from the northern part. We just haven't seen them. Wait until the exam, you'll see, said Qiu Yuexin to Lin Feng slowly before adding, in the future, out of those who will have succeeded, they will maybe pick a more restricted selection of disciples to become their direct disciples. That's most rich and young cultivators' goal. Lin Feng nodded. He understood. Rich and young cultivators were arrogant and didn't want to be considered ordinary imperial cultivation disciples, especially people like Xian Yuan who had imperial blood. He wanted to receive an emperor's direct instructions and become an emperor too. Lin Feng, if you become a direct imperial disciple, everybody will respect you. It is a symbolic social status. The Qiu clan will have to respect you too, whispered Qiu Yuexin. She sounded impatient. You're so impatient to marry me, said Lin Feng smiling. Qiu Yuexin looked at him. The moon is beautiful tonight. Let's sleep here, said Lin Feng looking at the sky. He was smiling in a resplendent way. It felt like they had a mountain weighing on their back. Surprisingly, he wanted to sleep there. If we stay here for a few days, we will get used to the force. Then when we go down, we won't feel any weight, explained Lin Feng. As you wish, said Qiu Yuexin indifferently. She then sat down. This meant that she agreed. Lin Feng sat down too and closed his eyes. He calmly sensed those energies. He was trying to understand that force. It was oppressing his skin, his flesh, his blood and his bones. Undergoing such challenges made cultivators become stronger. Lin Feng took out his Tianxian stone and the force of the earth and the sky instantly became much more intense. Lin Feng could sense the pulsations of the earth and sky even. He entered in a meditative state and started using his corporeal strength to resist the energies. It was difficult at first, but over time it became easier. Lin Feng fell into a trance. He was gone. Nothing existed around him anymore, at least he wasn't aware of anything. The moonlight slowly disappeared and it was the morning. Qiu Yuexin opened her eyes. Her body felt sore. She looked at Lin Feng. He was calm, he was even smiling. She was more and more surprised every day. Qiu Yuexin went down a few steps and suddenly felt much better. Just like Lin Feng had said, if they stayed on the higher steps, going down would be easy. However, staying up there a whole night had wore her out. She went to the bottom of the stairs, sat down cross-legged and closed her eyes again. Lin Feng was still in a meditative state, as if he had forgotten everything around him. Very quickly 3 days passed. Many people came and saw Lin Feng. They were all surprised. A cultivator of the third Tianqi layer could stay up there calmly. That was very surprising. He looked like a mystic being. Some people tried to copy him, but very few people could stay up there that long. Qiu Yuexin opened her eyes and looked at Lin Feng. His face was red, but he looked like he was enjoying it. He looked like he was enjoying a sauna bath. What a guy, thought Qiu Yuexin. She was speechless. Lin Feng was enjoying it when the others suffered. The sadhu appeared at the top of the stairs and looked at Lin Feng. He smiled. Then he turned around and left again. He didn't want to disturb Lin Feng. Qiu Yuexin was staring at Lin Feng with an indifferent smile. Just looking at Lin Feng was making her feel relaxed. Why are you staring at me? Said Lin Feng at that moment. She was startled and turned around. Lin Feng didn't say anything after that. Qiu Yuexin was wondering if he was practicing cultivation or if he was actually awake. He was holding his Tianxian stone and studying the force of the earth and sky. Even though Lin Feng's eyes were closed, he could still see her. A strong wind started blowing above Qiu Yuexin's head. She saw Lin Feng above her and he was surrounded by a terrifying pure qi. The qi of the earth and sky was spinning. Lin Feng was absorbing the strength of the earth and sky at a rapid rate. His pure qi turned into a tornado and shuttled back into his body. Qiu Yuexin was surprised. What was he doing? When the energy made it inside Lin Feng's body, Qiu Yuexin sensed that he had become stronger. He had progressed from the bottom of the third Tianqi layer to the middle. Phew! Lin Feng exhaled and a pure qi came out from his mouth. Then it dispersed. Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes. He felt terribly good. Lin Feng stood up and smiled at Qiu Yuexin. It was as if there were no oppressive energies anymore. Couldn't affect him at least. How pleasant, said Lin Feng smiling. The next steps would be easy for him. Chapter 1007. Remember forever, I feel so bad, said Chiu Yuexan. Lin Feng smiled. He had used his Tianxian stone the whole time to study the force of the earth and sky. He made the accumulated force flow in his body, and in the end the force had become a part of himself. So he felt very comfortable. He had made a lot of progress. Let's go back. The recruitment process will start soon, said Lin Feng smiling. 7 more days, replied Chiu Yuexan. 7 days. Lin Feng nodded and they left. Going down was easy, going up was difficult. They were used to being at the top though. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process was going to start soon. Many strong cultivators were gathered there. Lin Feng was wondering where Yu and Emoshi were, and if they had already arrived. He hadn't seen them since the Bahuang Sea. If Yu and the others had left the island of the 9 dragons, they should have arrived by now. But maybe they were stuck on the island of the 9 dragons. Lin Feng and Chiu Yuexan didn't stop in the middle of the crowd. They went back to their hotel. However, from far away they saw some people and stopped. There were people waiting inside for them. The Chiu clan? Asked Lin Feng. Indeed, said Chiu Yuexan, nodding. Someone opened the door and several people came out. Chiu Mei was there. The leader, however, was a middle-aged man. He looked at Chiu Yuexan and said, "What? Don't you recognize me?" said the middle-aged man coldly. "Uncle," said Chiu Yuexan coldly. "So you won't greet me? You're becoming more and more insolent," said the middle-aged man coldly. It seemed like they didn't like each other much. "I don't feel like it," said Chiu Yuexan coldly. "You don't feel like it? You felt like looking for a cultivator of the 3rd Tianqi layer. And you dare say there are some things you don't feel like doing," said the middle-aged man with a cold smile. Chiu Yuexan frowned and said coldly, "Uncle, you're an elder. I don't want to argue with you. There are some things which concern myself only. My parents can talk to me about those things, nobody else." "All right, very good. Come with me," said the middle-aged man. "Sorry, I won't," said Chiu Yuexan, shaking her head indifferently. Humph. The middle-aged man already knew she was going to refuse. In the Chiu clan, Chiu Yuexan was one of the most talented young people. Not many people could tell her what to do. "Your grandfather wants to see you. Don't you want to see your grandfather?" "My grandfather is here?" Chiu Yuexan looked upset. "Baby girl escaped with a boy, of course he came," said the middle-aged man mockingly. "Uncle, if you speak to me like that again, don't blame me for being impolite," said Chiu Yuexan in a rude way. Her voice was getting even colder. "Good. You're growing up now," said the middle-aged man. He then said, "I'm telling you, your grandfather wants to see you. Come with me, or won't you?" Chiu Yuexan pulled a long face and looked at Lin Feng. There were internal conflicts in the Chiu clan. She didn't want to leave though because she was worried about Lin Feng. But if she didn't go, her grandfather would be furious. That was a dilemma. "If you're worried, he can come too. Your grandfather could meet him. You can show him how outstanding the young man with whom you fell in love is," said the middle-aged man with a cold smile. Chiu Yuexan couldn't bring Lin Feng to see her grandfather. But what would happen otherwise? "You can go. Nothing will happen to me," said Lin Feng smiling. "Little girl, you can go. Nothing will happen to that bastard," said a voice behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng and Chiu Yuexan looked over at Chongqi. He looked so nonchalant. Chiu Yuexan was speechless too. Chongqi was calling her little girl? "I promise you the Chiu clan won't touch him while we're away," said Chiu Yuexan's uncle. "Where's Grandpa? Am I going alone?" asked Chiu Yuexan. "Periphery of Tianjing," said the middle-aged man indifferently. Chiu Yuexan nodded at Lin Feng and said, "Be careful." Chiu Yuexan then left. The middle-aged man looked at Lin Feng and said with a smile, "The Chiu clan doesn't even need to do anything to such a person." Then he left with the rest of the group. When they left, Chiu Mei looked at Lin Feng coldly. In her eyes, Lin Feng was already dead. "Iya." Chongqi sighed. "Little boy, everybody really thinks a small cat could kill you. Make them remember you this time," said Chongqi. In the distance, several people appeared and suddenly surrounded Lin Feng. "Chou Junluo, good to see you," said Lin Feng. He looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. He was fuming with anger. This time I will kill you, said Cho Junluo coldly. The ones with him were of the same level, cultivators of the 5th Tianqi layer. They were all incredible cultivators and none of them were ordinary. They were all cultivators from big and powerful clans. Who are you? We don't know each other, said Lin Feng glancing at the others. They were all strangers. Of course he knew few people in Bahuang province. The problem was, there were people who he didn't know who wanted to kill him as well. There are many people who want to kill you because you offended Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi. Now, you also offended the Cho clan. You've gone too far, said Cho Junluo coldly. I understand, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Because he had offended Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi, many people who wanted to be close to the Yangs or the Chos wanted to kill him, especially those who were in love with Cho Yuxian. Last time you used a sword to fight. If you didn't have that sword, you would be dead already. Now I will give you one more chance, and this time if you don't use your sword, I'll kill you instantly. I swear, if you decide to use your sword, we'll join hands to kill you, said Cho Junluo. He didn't want to be humiliated like last time. He knew that if Lin Feng used his sword, he'd lose again. You're right, I'll make them remember me forever, said Lin Feng to Chongqi. He then started walking forwards looking carefree. If you want to kill me, attack together, said Lin Feng, whose voice rolled in the air. Cho Junluo and the others were dumbstruck, but immediately threw themselves at Lin Feng. Chapter 1008. Cho Junluo is scared. You want to escape, said Cho Junluo. He opened his silver wings and they were as dazzling as before. Cho Junluo turned into an illusion as he moved towards Lin Feng. The others were also very fast and closely followed Cho Junluo. Lin Feng had a level 6 wind intent. At the same time, he knew how to use the Xiaoyao agility technique, so he was as fast as lightning. Cho Junluo was actually surprised by his speed. That's the Xiaoyao agility technique? The Xiaoyao agility technique was a technique of the godly Xiaoyao sect from Bahuang province. It was an imperial skill. Everybody knew the godly Xiaoyao sect. How could Lin Feng know it? Was Lin Feng a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect? Impossible, Yang Ziyi told me Lin Feng was a foreigner. He must have learnt it from someone, thought Cho Junluo. Many people wanted to learn the Xiaoyao agility technique from the godly Xiaoyao sect because it was one of the most efficient in terms of agility. But Cho Junluo was still confused though. Many people learnt the technique from the sect, but their speed was always limited. However, Lin Feng's speed was terrifying. Cho Junluo couldn't even catch up with him. If he can use the real agility technique, he would be even faster, thought Cho Junluo. Lin Feng had to die. Lin Feng could even use the strength of the earth and sky with his Xiaoyao agility technique. Bzzz. A dazzling white light illuminated the atmosphere. He opened his wings, which turned into 1,000 wings. Cho Junluo suddenly became a lot faster. Lin Feng just smiled coldly. He shook his hand as if he was using something. He suddenly much faster and a sonic boom was even heard. Cho Junluo was astonished and looked upset. He couldn't catch up with Lin Feng in terms of speed. How could he kill him? Cho Junluo had a talisman in his hand. If he broke it, Yang Zilan would immediately know that he was in danger. In that case, Yang Zilan would come back using a boat. The Yang clan had powerful blood and precious treasures. That's why they had so many boats. Cho Yuxian was a member of the Cho clan, but didn't possess such treasures. Lin Feng slowed down and flew to the ground. Cho Junluo was surprised and stopped. He smiled coldly. This was his opportunity to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng landed in a desolate place. It looked like a wasteland. Many people had gone to Tiantai, so there weren't many people in the surrounding areas. Cho Junluo followed Lin Feng closely. His wings were still dazzling. He didn't attack immediately though. He waited above Lin Feng in the sky. You seem scared of me? Why do you fight then? Said Lin Feng mockingly. Cho Junluo was still relying on his wing's spirit. If he didn't, Lin Feng could kill him with one sword strike. The others weren't getting too close to Lin Feng either. Humph, if you didn't have your sword, I'd kill you easily, said Cho Junluo coldly. That's the same as me saying, if you didn't have a spirit, you'd be dead already, said Lin Feng laughing. Cho Junluo was pathetic. My spirit is part of my natural abilities. Comes from my body. Your sword is an external strength. The others quickly surrounded Lin Feng again. Many people want to kill me, you should attack together while you still have the opportunity, said Lin Feng glancing at the crowd. I can kill you alone, the others can protect me from your sword. That's enough, said Chou Junluo coldly. He then started flapping his wings again. Everybody remained silent and vigilant. Those people had come because of Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi. Some others were there because of the Chou clan. They didn't care about who killed Lin Feng or not. The most important thing was that Lin Feng died. Die! Shouted Chou Junluo furiously. In a flash, his wind spirit emitted whistling sounds again. Destroy, said Lin Feng while punching the atmosphere. His punch emitted explosions as it headed forward. Bz! Chou Junluo's blood started boiling and his blood strength rolled in the air. And now your blood strength, said Lin Feng. He was surrounded by waves of blood strength. Lin Feng released his own blood strength. It slowly rose up in the air. At the same time, he condensed the force of the earth and the sky. The atmosphere was distorted as the wind was still moving towards Lin Feng. Chou Junluo was confused. What was it now? At that moment, he condensed an infinite amount of silver energies. However, Lin Feng was standing there, in the middle of those energies with a certain strength surrounding him. It was barely visible, but contained the force of the earth and sky. Blood strength. Chou Junluo quickly realized. How could Lin Feng have such a powerful blood strength? He was confused. Indeed, blood strength, you're not the only who has blood strength, said Lin Feng coldly, which made Chou Junluo come back to his senses. The others were surprised too. Lin Feng's blood strength was quite powerful. It was even emitting very loud sounds. It was actually stronger than theirs. They all frowned. Lin Feng's ancestors were probably extremely strong. Had he told them the truth about his social status? Are you really not a member of the Lin clan? Asked Chou Junluo. I told you I'm not. Well then what clan do you belong to? Shouted Chou Junluo furiously. Lin Feng smiled mockingly. You're scared. Chou Junluo was scared indeed. What a powerful blood strength. A good fighter, empty space techniques, a terrifying sword, fine. He could understand that those things could be learnt, but blood strength? Where did it come from? All those elements combined meant that Lin Feng's ancestors had a terrifying blood strength. His clan had incredible secret books with powerful techniques and powerful items. Otherwise, Lin Feng couldn't be this scary. Chapter 1009. Lin Feng the Terror. The continent of the Nine Clouds was vast, and there were many extraordinary people. Without powerful blood, a cultivator's spirit was quite weak. Blood and spirits were two different things. A cultivator inherited from a spirit and blood was transmitted from Zun-level ancestors. Having a powerful blood strength contributed to having a powerful spirit. Lin Feng had a strong blood. That's why he thought Lin Feng's ancestor was a powerful cultivator. Besides, he also knew an empty space technique and had the Tianji sword. Only rich people had such things usually. Lin Feng's ancestor had to be incredible. Lin Feng rose up in the air and glanced at Chou Junluo. Your powerful blood granted you extraordinary abilities. However, you're wasting your abilities acting like a dog for the Yang clan. I will show you with just my blood that I don't need a sword to defeat you. Lin Feng jumped forwards and released an incredible amount of strength. The dazzling silver lights paled in comparison. Chou Junluo was incredulous. Last time he had seen Lin Feng, he had broken through to the second Tianqi layer. Now with the strength of the third Tianqi layer and a powerful blood spirit, Chou Junluo was less confident in himself. Lin Feng slowly walked towards him. His feet were absorbing the force of the earth and the sky. The atmosphere changed as snowflakes were falling. Die! Shouted Chou Junluo furiously. He rose up in the air, opening his wings. His wings were as sharp as blades. If he reached Lin Feng, he would certainly kill him. Empty space special illusion technique, said Lin Feng in a mystical way. His snowy tunnel appeared. Chou Junluo pierced through Lin Feng, but nothing happened, as if Lin Feng was an illusion. This empty space technique again. Chou Junluo was furious. That technique was too difficult to deal with. Last time he took great efforts to destroy Lin Feng's illusion technique. Chou Junluo was furious. He couldn't afford being stuck in the illusion this time. Are you not coming to kill me? Why aren't you willing to fight me? said Lin Feng laughing. Chou Junluo looked at the others and said, "That's an ancient illusion technique, help me, we have to destroy it." "All right." The others nodded and surrounded Lin Feng while releasing terrifying energies. "His illusion technique isn't perfect. It's quite small. If our attack is powerful enough, we'll destroy it easily. Everybody, use your most powerful attack to destroy it," said one of them while releasing his spirit, a gigantic sword. That gigantic sword diffused dazzling lights and looked quite scary. "Yes, let's break his illusion and kill him. We don't need to waste any more time here," said another one coldly. He released his spirit too, a gigantic mountain which was seemed to possess a bit of speed. Everybody was releasing their spirits, or using various attacks to destroy Lin Feng's illusion technique. "Sounds like a plan. Let's kill him as fast as possible then," said Chou Junluo nodding. Lin Feng's blood had become too strong, they couldn't easily kill him. Joining hands was the better solution. They really strong indeed, thought Lin Feng. The earth and sky had changed drastically with all those energies. However, could they kill Lin Feng that way? Lin Feng still had some tricks. "Since you're joining hands, I should kill you all at the same time now," said Lin Feng laughing. The others were surprised. Was Lin Feng insane? How could he laugh? Killing them at the same time? Lin Feng released pale dark lights and his eyes turned pitch black. He looked like a demon. Chou Junluo opened his wings. One couldn't see the sky anymore under all those powers. He fixedly stared at Lin Feng and said, "No matter who you are, you'll die today. Die, die, die." They all released their energies at the same time. The gigantic sword fell upon Lin Feng's snowy tunnel. At the same time, the gigantic mountain spirit also fell down on the snowy tunnel and caused it to crack. Chou Junluo landed in the snowy tunnel. The snowy tunnel started shaking. Lin Feng's illusion created another world, so if the attack wasn't powerful enough, it couldn't be dispelled. Even though it was a small one, it was difficult for Tian-level cultivators to destroy such spells. Even while inside, they couldn't notice any characteristics that would normally inform them that it was an illusion spell. "Come and break it then," said Lin Feng. Rumbling sounds spread in the air. The earth and sky were shaking along with the snowy tunnel. Then the energy of the snowy tunnel disappeared. It was broken. "Die," said everyone laughing. However, Lin Feng released demonic energies and moved his hands. It looked like he was dancing. "Demon destruction," yelled Lin Feng in a piercingly cold and deep voice. In a flash, black lights invaded the atmosphere. Everybody felt like they were stuck, as if encased in cement. "Killing so many noble cultivators at once, what a pity," said Lin Feng. Then he shook his hand and a black fire appeared. Boom boom. Lin Feng punched those cultivators with the fire, and they started burning while emitting horrible shrieks. Bzzz. Lin Feng was extremely fast. Before anyone could react, he had punched all of them and they were all burning in a black fire. Chou Junluo was higher up in the air, so he didn't get caught up in the attack. However, he already didn't feel like fighting anymore. How scary. Lin Feng possessed pitch-black pupils and looked like a demon. What a powerful demon cultivation. For a cultivator at the bottom of the Tianqi layer, he wasn't bad at all. Chapter 10:10. Swallowing Spirits. Lin Feng was staring down Chou Junluo with his dark pupils. All his friends had burnt alive and were now dead. Those people were close to the Yang clan and Chou clan, and they had high social statuses. They had strong blood, strong spirits, and good fighting abilities. So many people had attacked and they all failed. The consequences were tragic. Even though Lin Feng's illusion had broken, Lin Feng had still killed them. "Do you still want to kill me?" said Lin Feng. Chou Junluo looked distressed. "We're not enemies," said Chou Junluo. Lin Feng was surprised to hear that. He smiled mockingly and said, "Why would you want to kill me if we weren't enemies? You tried to kill me, so you are my enemy," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. He looked at Chou Junluo in a despising way. The other day, Chou Junluo had looked at Lin Feng in that same despising way. He thought that with his status he could humiliate Lin Feng, but in fact he couldn't. He had lost the first time and now the second time would cost him his life. "Do you know why I didn't kill you before?" asked Lin Feng. Chou Junluo suddenly looked full of hope again. Why? Asked Cho Jun Luo. You despise me because you have a strong spirit and strong blood. I want to show you my spirit too, and I want you to taste my blood strength, said Lin Feng, laughing indifferently. Cho Jun Luo was petrified. Buzzing sound spread in the air as Lin Feng released his blood strength. It sounded like a furious ocean gushing out. What was Lin Feng's spirit like then? Very quickly, a 9-headed dragon appeared behind Lin Feng. A dragon? He had a dragon spirit. Even if Lin Feng's blood wasn't strong, he would have still be surprised. Lin Feng's ancestor had a dragon spirit. But on top of that, Lin Feng's blood was also strong dragon blood. Lin Feng's dragon spirit was incredible. It seemed like that 9-headed dragon was going to swallow the world. Roar! The dragon roared and threw himself at Cho Jun Luo. Cho Jun Luo was nervous, terrified even. He opened his wings and wrapped himself up. Humph! Lin Feng smiled coldly. His dragon opened his mouth and started eating the silver lights. Kacha kacha! The dragon was nibbling the silver wings. He could only nibble at them because they were so hard. No! Cho Jun Luo was in pain. His face had turned deathly pale. Vizi! He opened his wings again. This time he wanted to escape. Roar! The dragon roared. Cho Jun Luo started shaking violently. He couldn't move. The dragon was hungry. Roar! He was chanting. The heads moved towards Cho Jun Luo and bit him. They were eating his legs, his arms, his entire body. Cho Jun Luo was deathly pale. He was terrified. One of the heads opened its gigantic mouth and ate one of his wings whole. What are you doing? Shouted Cho Jun Luo furiously. He was going to die. I let you live because I want to absorb your spirit, said Lin Feng. The dragon opened his mouth again and ate the other wing. Ah! Cho Jun Luo gave a horrible shriek. Lin Feng wanted his spirit. We're done now. See you. Roar! Then the dragon ate Cho Jun Luo entirely. The dragon moved back towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng slowly closed his eyes and sensed the spirit. Back then, when his spirit was still the celestial Fang spirit, he could already absorb other spirits. Now that Lin Feng had absorbed dragon blood, his dragon was bigger and could absorb stronger spirits. Lin Feng was wondering if he could use all the powers of the spirits he absorbed now. The dragon was curling up behind Lin Feng. At that moment, silver lights appeared and the dragon slowly disappeared. The dragon was turning into the silver wings. I can still absorb spirits and use them, great, thought Lin Feng. He now had bright and dazzling silver wings protruding from his back. Lin Feng was using Cho Jun Luo's silver wings. Bang! He started flapping the silver wings. Let's go, said Lin Feng as he started flying away with incredible speed. In the distance, a boat arrived and stopped. It was Yang Ziyi and Yang Zilan as well as a powerful Zun cultivator. Cho Jun Luo had called them just before dying. What happened here? Shouted the Zun cultivator furiously. There were no corpses. They had either burnt or were swallowed. They didn't know if Lin Feng was dead or alive either. Chapter 10-11. Problems at the Chios. There are some silver lights over there. Cho Jun Luo must still be alive, said the Zun cultivator. There was a pale silver light in the distance. Right, Cho Jun Luo's blood is also quite strong. With his silver winged spirit, Lin Feng couldn't possibly kill him. Lin Feng must have gotten injured and tried to escape. Then Cho Jun Luo chased him, said Yang Zilan. Seeing the silver wings lights relieved him. Cho Jun Luo wasn't dead and had called them because he needed some help. Now he was probably chasing Lin Feng. Let's go and see if Lin Feng is buried already. To actually take our boat. He was begging for his own destruction. Their boat streaked across the sky in the direction of the silver wings lights. However, halfway across the sky, the silver lights disappeared. What do you think? Asked Yang Zilan to the Zun cultivator. The Zun cultivator's facial expression was ice cold. No battle energy, and the energies stopped so suddenly. There's only one possibility. The battle is already over and Cho Jun Luo removed the traces of his energies. What? Yang Zilan was surprised and looked upset. You think that Cho Jun Luo made us come here on purpose and then left? Said Yang Zilan coldly. I wouldn't be surprised. Lin Feng had a boat and 1,000 abstruse crystals, a precious sword and many other precious items. Cho Junluo probably wanted all of those for himself, said the Zune cultivator. Cho Junluo might have that idea. However, what they couldn't figure out was the silver lights they just saw wasn't actually released by Cho Junluo. Yang Zilan looked at the Zune cultivator. He was furious too. Cho Junluo was actually this shameless. Should we continue looking for him? Asked Yang Ziyi coldly. No need. Cho Junluo isn't stupid. He must have planned everything ahead, said the Zune cultivator. Yang Zilan nodded and said, we know it's him anyway. We can settle accounts at any time. Then they turned around and left. After they left, in the distance, Lin Feng raised his head. He had changed his face. He took out his mask and had an ice-cold expression. The young siblings wanted to kill him so badly. Lin Feng was furious. Since you want me dead, I can pretend I'm dead for the time being, thought Lin Feng. Besides, letting them think it was Cho Junluo was great. They would want to settle accounts with the Cho clan. Dazzling lights appeared and Lin Feng opened his silver wings again. My 9-headed dragon spirit can swallow spirits and blood. It's even stronger now. I'm happy I can use the silver wing spirits, thought Lin Feng while flapping his wings. He then streaked across the sky like a meteor. After Yang Zilan returned to his clan, he told many people about how Cho Junluo was greedy and wanted their boat. He told everyone Cho Junluo had killed Lin Feng and taken his treasures for himself. Lin Feng's death didn't have anything to do with them anymore. It was Cho Junluo who wanted to kill Lin Feng and steal his treasures. Besides, those who had gone with him were also from prestigious and rich clans. Now that they were dead, those powerful clans wouldn't be too happy with what Cho Junluo had done. Many people spread this gossip. However, Cho Junluo and Lin Feng weren't that important. People's favorite topic remained Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process. Only a few days were left before it started. In Tianjing City, there were many strong cultivators. Many disciples from rich and powerful clans were there already, disciples of the Yang clan, of the Cho clan, of the Lin clan. But potential candidates did not only travel from the northern part of Bahuang province. There were also those from other parts of the province who belonged to influential groups. For example, the Yi clan from the western part of Bahuang province, the Man clan from the eastern part of Bahuang province, and so on. Apart from them, there were other imperial cultivation disciples sent by their own teachers, emperors, to congratulate Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu for their initiative. After Chiu Yuxian left, the coldness didn't disappear from her face. People couldn't even talk to her or get close. The Chiu clan was a prestigious and powerful clan and Lin Feng was a nobody. Chiu Yuxian didn't need to go and see her grandfather. She already knew he would never accept their union. They thought that with Chiu Yuxian's natural abilities, beauty and social background, she had to be married with a genius from Bahuang province who had a very high social status. Otherwise, the Chiu clan would lose face. Xian Yuan would probably rank first amongst Tian-level cultivators at the recruitment process. Then, he would ask for Yang Ziye's hand officially. Chiu Yuxian was stronger and more beautiful than Yang Ziyi, therefore, she had to find someone better than Xian Yuan. If she stayed with Lin Feng, everybody would make fun of the Chiu clan. Next to a lake in Tianjing, someone was sitting fishing. Nobody knew what he was thinking, but they looked majestic and dignified. Come and see me, said the old man at that moment. After a short while, Chiu Yuxian's third uncle walked up to the old man and said, Father, what do you think of all this? Asked the old man. Father, our clan is one of the most prestigious in the north. We've never considered weak by anyone else. The Yang clan and the Xian Yuan's clan are going to fuse soon. Yuxian is one of our strongest and most outstanding children. She can't marry an ordinary man. Everybody will laugh to death if we accept, said Chiu Yuxian's third uncle. Birds of a feather flock together. That was the rule applied by powerful clans, including the Chiu clan. Yuxian is quite stubborn and quite cold. There are many outstanding men who are interested in her, but she doesn't like them. I don't know why. Surprisingly, she's interested in an ordinary person. We can't make her change her mind though, sighed the old man. Father, you mean, said the uncle coldly. Go. Don't let her know you did it. Chiu Yuxian's third uncle smiled and said, Father, I already took the initiative. When I asked Yuxian to come, some people attacked him. Not only people I sent but members of the Yang clan as well. The old man frowned, shook his head and said, I will ask your brother to go and see. If it worked, you Xian will need to be cheered up. If it didn't work, you can do as I said, go now. Understood, father, said Qiu Yu Xian's third uncle and left. So many cultivators of the 5th Tianqi layer had attacked Lin Feng. He had to be dead. The uncle had already planned everything. Chapter 10-12. Qiu Yu Xian's fury. After Qiu Yu Xian left, she went back to her room in the courtyard. Lin Feng wasn't there, which made her heart pound. She felt very nervous now. Her entire life, she never thought she'd find someone she liked. But life was mysterious and she had met Lin Feng, who she immediately developed feelings for. After that, that familiar feeling when she was with Lin Feng had grown stronger. It was so mysterious, she couldn't explain why she felt like that. Now Lin Feng had disappeared. She didn't stop. She immediately looked for hints of Lin Feng's whereabouts. Very quickly, she heard about Lin Feng's battle and she was furious. Her eyes were filled with tears, but she forced herself to calm down. She felt like she was going insane. She decided to go to the lake. Qiu Lin, Qiu Mei and some others had just left the lake. Their father had asked them to go and find out about Lin Feng, to see if he was dead or not. They weren't very far when they saw a white silhouette arrive. It was Qiu Yu Xian and she looked furious. How cold, thought Qiu Mei and Qiu Lin. Qiu Yu Xian's qi was piercingly cold. She looked enraged even. Yu Xian's sister, said Qiu Mei with a resplendent smile. However, despite her smile, she looked nervous. Busy. A moon appeared in Qiu Yu Xian's back. That moon was piercingly cold, just like her qi and like her mood. Autumn moon's spirit. Qiu Mei and Qiu Lin were scared. Qiu Yu Xian's first reaction upon seeing them was to release her spirit. Qiu Yu Xian was the only one in the family who had an autumn moon spirit. Her blood had undergone a transformation at birth. Yu Xian's sister, what are you doing? Qiu Lin and Qiu Mei looked scared. If Qiu Yu Xian released her spirit, it was because she wanted to fight. Vizizi. Her moon spirit diffused pale lights which surrounded them. They felt cold, as if they were going to freeze. Qiu Yu Xian's clothes were fluttering in the cold breeze. She raised her hands and a full moon appeared in her hands, solitary and cold, just like her. Yu Xian's sister, what are you doing? Qiu Lin and Qiu Mei's bodyguards released a terrifying qi and blocked Qiu Yu Xian's spirit. Those who try to confront me will die, said Qiu Yu Xian coldly. She raised her hands and 2 moons appeared. They combined into a gigantic moon and shot out towards the attackers. Yu Xian's sister, shouted Qiu Mei and Qiu Lin. They were astonished that Qiu Yu Xian was attacking them. After all, they were family. Boom! The 2 bodyguards flew away. More people tried to stop her, so she glared at them while shouting, I'll repeat myself once more. Those who try to stop me will die. Her autumn moon rose up in the air once more. It was oppressing Qiu Mei and the other, and the sensation was very painful. You want to kill your family because of a stranger? You're insane, shouted Qiu Lin furiously. He took out a talisman and broke it. Qiu Yu Xian's moon was oppressing the bodyguards, and they felt like they were going to be crushed under the pressure. They knew how strong Qiu Yu Xian was. They never thought that they'd have to fight against her though. Some people in distance were watching the fight, astonished. Qiu Yu Xian was attacking Qiu Lin and Qiu Lin, but why? Had she gone insane? Boom boom. Explosions sounded as the Tian-level bodyguards couldn't stop Qiu Yu Xian's attack. They were all propelled away. Why? Shouted Qiu Mei furiously. Qiu Yu Xian glanced at her coldly, but didn't reply. Did she need to answer such a question? Qiu Mei's father had taken Qiu Yu Xian away, and when she went back she couldn't find Lin Feng. He had been killed, that was perfectly clear. Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi killed Lin Feng, shouted Qiu Mei furiously. Qiu Yu Xian stopped and said, they helped? They did it, it has nothing to do with us, replied Qiu Mei. How could you even know? Said Qiu Yu Xian coldly. Her full moon appeared again and Qiu Lin and Qiu Mei's faces turned deathly pale. Stop, shouted a furious voice which startled Qiu Yu Xian. Qiu Mei and Qiu Lin suddenly looked relieved. Finally. Father, save us, shouted Qiu Mei. Even though Qiu Yu Xian stopped, she still had murder in her eyes. She released more moons as well as her godly awareness. Qiu Mei was incredulous. Her father was coming and Cho Yuxian continued attacking them. She was actually insane. Cho Mei, godly awareness, shouted Cho Lin, which made Cho Mei come back to her senses. She finally reacted and released her godly awareness at the same time as Cho Lin. Blocking Cho Yuxian's godly awareness was difficult. Boom boom. An ice-cold energy attacked Cho Lin and Cho Mei's godly awareness. They both groaned in pain as blood splashed from their mouths. They looked very pale now. "You're insane," shouted Cho Mei's father. Incredible energies surrounded Cho Yuxian's body and made her fly away. Her clothes were ripped apart and she was wounded. She recalled her godly awareness and looked at her third uncle. "Cho Hao, you're shameless. You better protect them carefully. If I see them again, I'll kill them," said Cho Yuxian. Then she turned around and left. Cho Hao pulled a long face. Cho Yuxian actually threatened him. "Do you think you can leave just like that?" Cho Yuxian just replied, "If I die, you'll die too." Cho Hao just looked at her back, petrified. She was absolutely insane. What a disrespectful young woman. However, he couldn't touch Cho Yuxian. Cho Yuxian was threatening to kill his children, but he couldn't touch her because of her position in the clan. Cho Yuxian disappeared in the distance. Cho Hao and the others were still upset. Cho Hao's father arrived as fast as he could, only to see Cho Yuxian flying off in the distance. "Father, she's insane," said Cho Hao. "Because you're reckless," shouted the old man furiously. If someone killed Cho Mei's boyfriend, how would you react? Cho Hao, Cho Mei and Cho Lin didn't say anything. Surprisingly, the old man was defending Cho Yuxian. Even though they really were reckless, they hadn't thought Cho Yuxian would react like that. "If the boy isn't dead, I wish I could see him, at least to make Yuxian happy again," whispered the old man. "Be careful in the future. Don't make Yuxian furious again. Let her calm down, all she needs now is time. And Cho Lin, Cho Mei, don't go out alone." Cho Hao and the others were sulking. Cho Yuxian was free to go outside, but not Cho Mei. "You killed the boy whom Yuxian loved. She deserves some compassion," said the old man before leaving. "Father, Grandpa also wants to him dead," said Cho Lin. "Shut up," shouted Cho Hao furiously. Lin Feng was dead and the old man defended Cho Yuxian, who was depressed. That was only normal. Chapter 10-13. Hostage and battles. There were many people at the foot of Tiantai. Even more people were trying to get up the stairs now. Many people now knew that the last 81 steps were the hardest ones and that they were divided into 9 groups of 9. Many people were injured while stepping on the 17,919th step, so nobody dared act carelessly anymore. Many people tried to go up, but nobody managed to because a sadhu appeared at the top and told them it was forbidden. That flight of stairs is terrifying. I wonder how cruel the last 81 steps are. A group of young people drew everyone's attention at that moment. The young men were extremely handsome, and the young women were very beautiful. That group consisted of members from the Yang clan as well as their friends. The 9 last groups of stairs must be very difficult, but for you, Zilan, it mustn't be a problem at all, said someone. Young Zilan smiled in a resplendent way. During the exam, he would be the only one to succeed and everybody would look at him gasping with admiration. Even though I'm very strong, I'm still far from being as strong as Xian Yuan, said young Zilan smiling. Xian Yuan was a beast. Even though Zilan and Xian Yuan had both broken through to the 7th Tianqi layer, Zilan was a lot weaker than Xian Yuan. Zilan, you're not that weak. Besides, Ziyi and Xian Yuan are going to get married. The more glorious he is, the better for you, said someone else. Young Zilan and young Ziyi both smiled in a proud and magnificent way. Bzzz. A cold energy suddenly surrounded them. Young Zilan and young Ziye's smiles suddenly became rigid. They turned around and saw a moon shooting towards them with incredible speed. You want to die, shouted the one who had just complimented young Zilan, but he didn't have time to react as he suddenly died. Everybody was astonished and many people moved aside. Nobody thought that life and death battles would take place there. Cho Yuxi. Young Zilan recognized her and shouted. Scorching sun, kill the moon, shouted young Zilan furiously. A burning sun appeared in his hand and moved towards Cho Yuxi. The moon and the sun were antagonist forces, so they each faded when they ran into each other. However, buzzing sounds continued to spread in the air. The crowd was trembling. Choyu Xian had released another autumn moon. What's going on? The Yang clan and the Cho clan are fighting? That's insane. Many people were wondering what was going on, but at the same time they were excited. They really wanted to know why Choyu Xian was attacking them. Besides, several influential clans might get involved. I heard that the one Choyu Xian loves, a man called Lin Feng, rescued Yang Ziyi in the middle of the Huang Sea, but asked for their boat in exchange. The Yang clan couldn't accept that and has been trying to kill Lin Feng ever since. Then, a short time ago, Chou Junluo killed Lin Feng, and since Chou Junluo and Yang Zilan are friends, that must explain why Choyu Xian wants to kill them. Many people trying to guess what was going on. From the below, everybody could see the battle clearly. There were many people on the flight of stairs, so the news spread quickly. The Yang clan and the Cho clan were fighting. After learning how to use the silver wings, Lin Feng went back to the hotel, but only found Chongqi. Chongqi told him that Choyu Xian had gone to look for him. There were many people at the foot of the flight of stairs of Tiantai, therefore, going to look over there was probably the most logical thing to do. So Lin Feng decided to head that way. Lin Feng raised his head and saw many people in the sky. What's going on there? Don't you know? The Cho clan and the Yang clan are fighting because Lin Feng was killed. Choyu Xian is furious and almost killed Chou Mei and Chou Lin. Unfortunately for her, Chou Hao intervened. Then Choyu Xian came here to kill Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi. Maybe Lin Feng was killed by someone sent by Yang Zilan. Explained some stranger to Lin Feng. Choyu Xian wanted to kill her own family members and the Yang siblings because of him. What a woman! Lin Feng was surprisingly cheerful. He hadn't thought that Choyu Xian loved him so much. Maybe the Cho clan would let Choyu Xian off, but the Yang clan wouldn't. Lin Feng raised his head. The energies didn't affect him at all. Lin Feng's heart was pounding from her sentiment. Lin Feng flew quickly to find out that the fight had already stopped. Choyu Xian was bleeding, and the Zun cultivators of the Yang clan were surrounding her. They had already injured her. Choyu Xian, you're insane. I've always respected you, and surprisingly you want to kill me. Do you want my clan to hate yours? Asked Yang Zilan coldly. You're a shameless coward, screamed Choyu Xian. Lin Feng saved your little sister and you've been trying to kill him this whole time. You're shameless. We have the same cultivation level and you won't fight me on your own. Instead, you made the strong cultivators from your clan attack me. You're not a man, you're a shameless coward. Choyu Xian humiliated Yang Zilan, which made him furious. He had been trying to kill Lin Feng the whole time but kept failing. Then Chou Junluo had managed to kill Lin Feng. In the end, he had stolen Lin Feng's treasures too. Now he didn't dare fight Choyu Xian. The worst fact was that his blood wasn't that strong because he hadn't had sex with that many women. All in all, he was much weaker than Choyu Xian. Yang Zilan was quite unlucky these days. He was now furious because of what Choyu Xian said. I've always been polite, but you surprisingly dare attack and humiliate me. You're ridiculous. If the Cho clan doesn't give us an explanation, you'll be staying with us, said Yang Zilan coldly. Capture her. A Zun cultivator released incredible chi. Lin Feng was furious. A Zun cultivator was humiliating Choyu Xian. How unfair. Maybe even worse things would happen to her if they captured her. Lin Feng looked around him with incredible anger. Die, said Choyu Xian to Yang Zilan. She released her godly awareness straight at Yang Zilan. You want to die, shouted the Zun cultivator furiously. He released his godly awareness and enveloped Choyu Xian's moon-shaped godly awareness. // At that moment, silver lights appeared and someone threw himself at Yang Zi. He had dazzling silver wings. What? Yang Zilan was astonished. Someone dared attack Yang Ziyi. He shouted furiously, try if you dare. However, that person flapped his silver wings and a hurricane appeared. At the same time, he took Yang Ziyi and left with her. The Yang clan hadn't thought that someone would try to protect Choyu Xian if they attempted to kidnap her. Chapter 10:14. Humiliating the Yang clan, Lin Feng flapped his silver wings and ran away with incredible speed. He was holding Yang Zi. It seemed that if she moved, She could die from the wings instantly. Silverwing spirit, Cho clan, who are you? Said Yang Zi coldly. Surprisingly, members of the Cho clan actually kidnap her. That was unimaginable. Did you hear that Jun Luo is dead? Said that person coldly. Yang Zilan was quite surprised. What are you talking about? Cho Jun Luo killed Lin Feng, stole his treasures and left with them. Why are you saying that he's dead? People of the Yang clan are so shameless, said Lin Feng. They thought he was a member of the Cho clan, so Lin Feng played along. The more tensions between their clans, the better. Lin Feng saved your sister and you still act so shamelessly. You sent Jun Luo and the others to kill him to help you all because you wanted your boat back. You used my brother Jun Luo. He broke the talisman to tell you he was in danger, but you didn't come, you let him die. You shameless bastard! Shouted Lin Feng furiously so that everybody could hear. Yang Zilan and the others looked upset. Everybody knew that the Yang clan wanted to kill Lin Feng, but it wasn't official. Now surprisingly, one of Cho Jun Luo's brothers was there, exposing the truth. The Yang clan was losing face. Cho Jun Luo broke the talisman and died? Yang Zilan was surprised. He thought Cho Jun Luo had stolen Lin Feng's treasures and escaped. Now his brother was saying that Cho Jun Luo was dead? Indeed he died, said Lin Feng coldly. Yang Zilan could see that Cho Jun Luo's brother was furious. What about Lin Feng? Asked Yang Zilan. If Cho Jun Luo was dead, what about Lin Feng? He died too. Everybody died, it was a total destruction. Jade and stone burned together, said Lin Feng coldly. Chiu Yuxian's heart was suddenly crushed. He was dead. There was no hope anymore. She started crying. Lin Feng looked at her, his heart hurt so bad, but he couldn't do much. If he told her anything, everybody would know who he is. Jun Luo was my friend. I'm so sad to learn that he's dead. Besides, Lin Feng killed him. Why would you take my sister as a hostage? Said Yang Zilan in a gentle way, because he was now scared for his sister. Yang Zilan, don't you think you're acting ridiculous? You're shameless. You make me want to puke. My brother died because of you and you dare spread rumors about him and tarnish his reputation. That's what you do to your friends? You tarnish their reputation when they're dead? Said Lin Feng. He was secretly exulting. He felt like he was secretly spreading poison amongst all those people. Maybe I was wrong, but I didn't know that Jun Luo was dead. Now that I know, I will do what I can for the Cho clan to forgive us. Let my sister go and our clans will stay friends in the future, said Yang Zilan gently. Friend. Lin Feng saved that girl and took her home. That's how you treat your friends? Said Lin Feng mockingly. Yang Zilan was getting furious and impatient by this point. Everybody would think that his clan was only shameless. Don't be selfish. Think about your clan, said Yang Zilan coldly. He was starting to threaten that person. My clan will kill shameless people like you because you're inferior to us, said Lin Feng fearlessly. If a great war started between the clans, that would be great. You want to die, said Yang Zilan releasing energies. Lin Feng flapped his silver wings and Yang Ziyi shouted in fear. She was wounded. You're scared too. Unfortunately, when someone tried to save you, you didn't show how grateful you were, said Lin Feng mockingly. Yang Zilan recalled his energies. Lin Feng smiled coldly. He had tarnished Yang Zilan's reputation and created tensions between the Yang clan and the Cho clan. Chiu Yuxian has done nothing. Let Miss Chiu Yuxian go, said Lin Feng indifferently. Yang Zilan was speechless. Lin Feng was still holding Yang Ziyi, and now he was asking them to liberate Chiu Yuxian? Don't you think that you're going too far? Said Yang Zilan. However, Lin Feng was still holding Yang Ziyi, so Yang Zilan couldn't do anything. Ah! Yang Ziyi shouted again, blood dripped down her throat. Yang Zilan looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. The crowd was astonished. The Cho clan had some insane people. They kidnapped Yang Ziyi and then threatened the Yang clan. That guy had balls. I will not repeat myself again. Let Chiu Yuxian go, said Lin Feng. Yang Zilan didn't know what to do. But in the end, the members of the Yang clan flew away and let Chiu Yuxian go. Chiu Yuxian looked at Lin Feng. She didn't understand why that person was helping her. She nodded at Lin Feng and also flew away. Now let my sister go, said Yang Zilan coldly. Not yet, said Lin Feng with a cold smile. He looked at Yang Zilan and said, "Take out your boat and remove the connections you have with your boat." Yang Zilan looked furious. That guy wanted his boat. The crowd was astonished too, but they were excited. Things were getting interesting. "Yang Zilan, are you that shameless? Would you let your sister die because of a boat?" said Lin Feng mockingly. Yang Zilan said, "If I give you the boat, you must release my sister." "Of course," said Lin Feng, nodding. He had saved Qiu Yuxian and was taking another one of their boats. Not bad. The two siblings wouldn't have a boat after that. They wouldn't be able to escape dangers in the future. Yang Zilan shook his hand and a boat appeared. He immediately removed his connections to the boat. "Take it," said Yang Zilan. That boat was incredible and was worth a lot of abstruse crystals. Lin Feng established a connection between him and the boat. In a flash, the boat became alive again. He flapped his silver wings and landed on the boat. However, the silhouettes of the strong cultivators of the Yang clan flickered. They wanted to stop Lin Feng. They also released a powerful energy. "You can let her go now," said Yang Zilan coldly. "If I let her go in these circumstances, you'll just kill me. Why would I ask for the boat if it was to die 5 minutes later?" said Lin Feng with a cold smile. "What do you want?" asked Yang Zilan in a piercingly cold way. "Let me pass," said Lin Feng coldly. "If I let you pass but you don't let my sister go, what will I do then? If I kill your sister, you'll go insane. I'm not that cruel. I have everything I want now, so let me pass. I will let her go." Yang Zilan remained silent and said, "If you don't let her go, I guarantee you that you will not leave Tianjing City." Yang Zilan waved at the strong cultivators, telling them to move away. Lin Feng moved away with the boat and about 10,000 meters away. He said to Yang Zilan with a cold smile, "You better not come to the Chou clan, otherwise, we'll chop your sister's body into 1,000 pieces." He then flapped his wings, threw Yang Ziyi away at Yang Zilan and left with the boat. In a flash he disappeared. What a humiliation for the Yang clan. "Go back to the clan and inform them about what happened," said Yang Zilan coldly. People shivered. They understood things looked bad for the Chou clan. Chapter 10-15. Incredible people. Lin Feng traveled far away with the boat before changing his face again. He also recalled his silver wings spirit. That way, the one who had saved Qiu Yuxian, kidnapped Yang Ziyi and stole Yang Zilan's boat had disappeared, and the only ones to blame would be the Chou clan. Lin Feng then went back to the hotel. He wanted to see Qiu Yuxian. Had she gone back to the hotel? Lin Feng released his awareness and inspected the surroundings. Someone was in Qiu Yuxian's room. She had probably come back. Lin Feng smiled and put the mask he was wearing back on. Then he opened her room and saw Qiu Yuxian. She was sitting on her bed and looked furious when she saw someone open her door. "What?" When she saw it was the one who had helped her a moment before, she stopped releasing her energies and said, "Thank you for helping me, but this is my room and coming in like that is impolite. I like you. I want you and me to be very close," said Lin Feng with an indifferent smile. Qiu Yuxian looked at him coldly and released her energies once more. "Be respectful," shouted Qiu Yuxian furiously. That person actually disrespected her. Lin Feng laughed and continued walking towards her. "If you make one more step, I'll kill you," said Qiu Yuxian. However, Lin Feng laughed and continued walking towards her. "You're a pervert," said Qiu Yuxian, standing up. She then punched the air in Lin Feng's direction. Lin Feng released strength and punched as well. Boom boom! A crackling sound spread in the air. "Seal!" shouted Lin Feng. "Sealing strength." Qiu Yuxian stopped briefly. She had seen that attack before. The sealing strength surrounded her and she could barely move. Lin Feng got close and put his arms around Qiu Yuxian. She fixedly stared at him. "I've liked you for so long and you've already forgotten me," said Lin Feng with a wry smile on his face. Qiu Yuxian couldn't believe it. Was it Lin Feng? Lin Feng wasn't dead? Lin Feng took off his mask and smiled. "Don't you recognize me?" Qiu Yuxian was dumbstruck. Her eyes were red. She still had a cold qi around her. "You bastard!" Her ice-cold energies surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng was speechless. No need to be that aggressive, he thought. Since you think I'm a bastard, I'm leaving, said Lin Feng, smiling evilly. Qiu Yuxian was wondering what he was thinking. Lin Feng slowly lowered his head. That bastard. She wanted to shout, but Lin Feng kissed her. She just stared at him. She was astonished. Slash! A sound spread in the air. Qiu Yuxian reacted, but Lin Feng was prepared and moved away. You're shameless. Lin Feng left the room and she chased him. However, she wasn't angry. Deep in her eyes, one could see that she was relieved. He was alive. She had to teach him a lesson for not telling her that he was alive sooner. Later that night, it all felt like a dream. Many people had practiced cultivation just for this moment. They had been waiting for that day for so long. It was on this day that Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process was going to start. Many strong cultivators had gathered, both Zun cultivators and Tian-level cultivators. For many people, especially the Tian-level cultivators, becoming an imperial cultivation disciple was a dream, a social status, a symbol proving that their future was going to be bright. People would respect them. That was also an opportunity to become stronger faster. For Zun cultivators, it was difficult to become stronger. Each cultivation layer was harder than the last to break through. One cultivation layer at the level of Zun cultivators was like Nine's layer at the Tianqi layer. It was even more difficult for high-level Zun cultivators. So emperors help along this path. Becoming an imperial cultivation disciple was very difficult and the opportunities were very rare. Sometimes people had to wait 100 years before seeing such opportunities. Therefore, they couldn't let it slip. Lin Feng walked alongside Qiu Yuxian down the flight of stairs but remained speechless. So many people, how would they choose imperial cultivation disciples amongst so many people? Said Lin Feng, smiling wryly. There were so many people that it was impossible to count them all. It was impossible to even determine the area covered by all those people. There were many geniuses, but who would be able to overcome the challenge of the last 81 steps? A few would surely succeed. 2 groups of 9 stairs couldn't be impossible for some of them. People couldn't wait to see the millions of geniuses climb those stairs. That will be spectacular to see all those people climb the stairs, whispered Qiu Yuxian, smiling at Lin Feng. I know, right? It will be incredible. Lin Feng nodded. Everybody looked solemn and respectful. They all looked incredibly motivated and determined. Becoming an imperial cultivation disciple, having an emperor as a teacher, if they managed to climb those stairs, they would have an incredible future. Emperors control Bahuang province. Only people as strong as them can give such heroic feelings to people. Qiu Yuxian, though, even though she was from a rich and powerful family, she clearly understood that emperors belonged to different and incomparable worlds. Those emperors, if upset, could destroy an entire clan like the Qiu clan or any other. Everybody wanted to become like them. One day, I will become an emperor. And when I order my disciples to destroy the Yang clan, they will do it without hesitation. Nobody will dare offend me anymore, said Lin Feng, looking determined. One day, he would become an emperor. If you become an emperor, what will I be? Said Qiu Yuxian, smiling. When I become an emperor, you'll be an empress, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Qiu Yuxian wondered what it meant to be an empress. Chapter 10:16 Rules an Empress. What does that mean exactly? Asked Qiu Yuxian. She was curious and fixedly staring at Lin Feng. An empress is an emperor's wife, said Lin Feng with an incredible smile. Her heart started pounding. She was delighted by the idea. An empress, what a powerful title. It's starting soon, said Lin Feng, raising his head. The sun was like a fire. It made people feel determined. We're almost there, nodded Qiu Yuxian. Busy. A sound spread in the air and made people's souls shake. The atmosphere suddenly became calm. Many people raised their heads, looking solemn and respectful. They looked at the stairs, which were now illuminated. They looked even more mysterious than before. Qi was flowing through the steps and appeared ethereal. They're different. Lin Feng was astonished. The flight of stairs was different, but Lin Feng didn't know what had changed. Bzzz. Another sound spread in the air. People looked even more serious. In the distance, at the top of the flight of stairs, someone appeared. They looked calm, sober. They put their palms together before him like a Buddhist or Hinduist monk. It was a sadhu. Come up, said the sadhu. He was surrounded by golden lights and he looked like a little Buddha. He looks like he can use ancient Buddhist spells. Cho Yuxian was very surprised. Lin Feng frowned. He didn't understand, so he asked, "Aren't sadhus Buddhists? What does ancient Buddhist spells mean?" "Who told you sadhus are Buddhists?" asked Cho Yuxian. She then added, "Sadhus practice self-denial and apply ascetic principles. It is painful and they devote their life to this cultivation. They are pure of heart and have few desires. They shave their heads to avoid being ostentatious. They refuse fame and wealth and other material things. They don't wear clothes for glory, they wear a kasaya. They also recognize that they have flaws. But there isn't just one sort of sadhu, especially in the antiquity. There are differences between sadhus and also between the date of the teachings they received. Two sadhus can be very different but can be very, very similar at the same time. This sadhu's energies are auspicious. He could make people feel calm and serene. It seems that he learned ancient ascetic practices. That's why I said that," explained Cho Yuxian slowly. Lin Feng nodded. He understood. He released golden lights which enveloped the stairs. It was a celestial qi. Some people rose up in the air and their qi was extraordinary. Some people looked proud, some others looked humble, but people clearly understood that they were imperial cultivation disciples, to the extent that some of them were the emperor's direct disciples. As an emperor, other people were insects to them. An auspicious cloud appeared and a few dozen people were on it. "Please monitor the exam, thank you," said the sadhu, bowing respectfully in front of those people with his palms together before him. "No problem. Do what you have to do," said the group to the sadhu. They all knew who he was. There was only one sadhu who followed Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's teachings. Their direct disciples all knew the sadhu. "Thank you for your understanding," said the sadhu politely. He then looked at the crowd and said, "Those who are not participating, please move backwards." He sounded enlightened. Many people moved backwards. The sadhu just had to say a few words and millions of people listened to him. Nobody dared cause trouble after all. It was an event organized by two emperors. Two groups of people appeared, those behind and those at the front. The sadhu nodded and said, "Today, Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process is starting. However, there are too many people. Therefore, the emperors created that flight of stairs to do a first selection. There are 18,000 steps. Those who manage to come up to the 17,919th step will arrive in front of 9 groups of 9 steps. Then there will be a key. If you manage to take the key, you'll be able to open the door to Tiantai. Only those who manage to do that will be able to move forwards and apply for an imperial cultivation disciple position." The crowd thought, a key? A key? That seemed too easy. Lin Feng was surprised as well. He had thought the exam only consisted of that challenge. He thought climbing all the stairs would be enough to become an imperial cultivation disciple. The first group of 9 steps was already very challenging. What would the exam be like after that then? After the first challenge, which was already extremely difficult, would it get more difficult? "How difficult, but it's understandable," whispered Cho Yuxian. "Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu only wanted to look for the strongest geniuses. 81 steps, 9 groups of 9 steps. It's as difficult as reaching the clouds. Climbing one group of steps grants you the possibility to come to Tiantai, but not to continue through to the competition and become an imperial cultivation disciple," said the sadhu, explaining the rules. 1 group of steps, 1 key. Without the key, nobody would be able to go up the 9 groups of 9 steps. The crowd sighed. They had to go through 2 groups of steps at least. Those who manage to go through 2 groups of 9 steps will get a different key, and will be allowed to continue competing to become an imperial cultivation disciple. If you take 1 key, you won't be able to get the following keys. Therefore, if you take the 3rd key, you will lose access to the 6 other keys. So don't take a key carelessly. If you can, try to go as far as you can. The more groups of steps you go through, the better key you will get. Try to take a key only if you really can't bear the energies anymore," said the sadhu slowly so that everybody could clearly understand. The 2nd key only allowed one to continue competing. Keys at higher levels offered more opportunities. Many people were wondering what the 9th key had to offer. Of course, many people were wondering what the pressure was like on the last level. All right, start now, said the sadhu. Suddenly, many people started running up the stairs. Chapter 10:17. Xian Yuan's success, you only have half a day. Then the staircase will close and you won't be able to climb the stairs, said the sadhu laughing. A time limit was necessary, otherwise it would take too long. Only half a day. Many people were upset. Many people released pure qi and started climbing the stairs right away. It was incredible. All their energies were so shiny. Let's go, said Qiu Yuexin. Lin Feng shook his head and said, we don't need to go now, we still have time. All right, said Qiu Yuexin. More and more people were running up and their energies were making them suffocate. The flight of stairs was completely packed with people. If there weren't 18,000 steps, they couldn't hold so many people, said many people laughing. There were so many strong cultivators, it was incredible. The sun was shining upon all those people and their energies were twinkling. The flight of stairs looked like real gold. Even in normal circumstances, that would already be quite a distance, thought several people. There were already some people arriving before the last 81 steps. Some people are starting to step on the first group of the final steps. Some people gazed into the distance and noticed some people starting the final test of that first challenge. They stopped. They looked nervous. 1 foot first. Finally a second foot. Busy. A bright light illuminated the atmosphere and it was dazzling. That person turned into a beam of light and was propelled far, far away. How scary, the crowd ought. That person crashed onto the ground behind him, and he sat down cross-legged and started practicing cultivation. That was a strange reaction. What? Lin Feng and Qiu Yuexin glanced at each other. What was going on? The first time Lin Feng and Qiu Yuexin tried, Qiu Yuexin was wounded but hadn't been propelled that far, to the extent that she needed to practice cultivation to recover. It seems even more difficult than when we tried before. They must be doing that to prevent people from trying a second time. Otherwise, there would be too many people trying all the time, said Qiu Yuexin. Lin Feng nodded. Trying a second time would be troublesome. Although most started running immediately, there were still many people who thought had the same idea as Qiu Yuexin and Lin Feng. That guy was the first one to arrive at the bottom of the 81 steps. He was faster and stronger than many people but lost anyways, many people were thinking. Now people weren't feeling as confident as they once were. After that, other people tried. A dozen people were blown away as well. Besides, the key was on the last step of each group of steps. So far, nobody had managed to grab the first key. At that moment, someone arrived near the last 81 steps. His feet seemed to quake like mountains on those steps. People around him let him pass. There was nobody around him anymore. Xian Yuan. Many people stopped and looked at him. Nobody had managed to grab a key so far. I hope he manages to get through all 9 groups of steps. Many people favored his victory. If he managed to do that, they'd probably be able to get through 2 groups of steps. Xian Yuan has imperial blood and a powerful blood spirit. He is an extremely gifted fighter as well. His goal is to rank first amongst Tian-level cultivators, said Qiu Yuexin. I know, said Lin Feng smiling. He recognized Xian Yuan. Let's see how many he can do, said Qiu Yuexin. He went up 10 steps in a flash. He was now standing on the first step of the second group of stairs. How strong, thought the crowd sighing. Xian Yuan was incredible. Other people hadn't even managed to walk on the first group of steps. Xian Yuan had directly gone to the second tier. Xian Yuan's hair and clothes were fluttering in the wind. Is he afraid to go up the steps of the second group of stairs? Thought the crowd petrified. If Xian Yuan was afraid, what about them? It would be too difficult for them as well? Many people had already failed. Finally, Xian Yuan moved. Even though they couldn't sense what he was feeling, they could imagine. There was an incredible wind around him. Then suddenly Xian Yuan went up another 10 steps and arrived on the third group of steps. The crowd was astonished and clenching their fists. Everybody was watching him. Nobody else was trying. He's moving again, thought the crowd. Pure qi was rolling in the atmosphere and surrounding his body. He went up 9 steps, but it seemed even more difficult. At that moment, he was stepping onto the first step of the 4th group of steps. His body started shaking violently. He released blood strength and finally stepped on the 4th group of steps. Arg! Xian Yuan groaned with pain. He released more blood strength and climbed up 10 steps again. He arrived on the 5th group of steps. His blood strength is incredible, thought the crowd. Xian Yuan's body was twinkling with dazzling lights. It seemed like nothing was impossible for him. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody was gasping with amazement. People's hearts were beating at the same pace as Xian Yuan's. Xian Yuan arrived at the last step of the 5th group of steps. He had the opportunity to take a blue key there. Was he going to? Or not? Xian Yuan raised his head. People were feeling nervous for him. Xian Yuan put one foot onto the first step of the 6th group of steps, but took it back. Xian Yuan turned around and looked at the crowd. That's the most anyone can do. Nobody can step onto the 6th group of steps. He sounded extremely confident. He took the blue key and then suddenly disappeared. Chapter 10:18. Insects defy the laws of physics. He's in Tiantai? The crowd was astonished. That key was magical and it served as a magical portal. They also noticed that all the keys had different colors. Did it mean anything? Did it have anything to do with what the sadhu had said, that each key offered different benefits? Xian Yuan is really proud and arrogant. According to him, if he didn't manage to step onto the 6th group of steps, then nobody else could. According to Xian Yuan, nobody could surpass him. Some people were feeling uncomfortable. Xian Yuan was extremely strong and had the ambition to rank first amongst Tian-level cultivators, so what about them? He had put one foot onto the first step of the 6th group and gave up. On top of that, before Xian Yuan, nobody had managed to get any key. The atmosphere became very calm. But very quickly, several people started again. Apart from Xian Yuan, some people managed to get a key, however, it was only the first key. They would be guests in Tiantai, but couldn't continue competing to become imperial cultivation disciples. 2-3 people managed to get the first key. Many others were propelled backwards like the first one. All those people sat down cross-legged and healed themselves at the foot of the flight of stairs. Time passed slowly and a few people succeeded. Lin Feng looked at the crowd. More and more people had failed. Lin Feng looked at the sky. There wasn't much time left. 10,000 people had managed to go to Tiantai, and only half were eligible to continue through to the competition. There weren't that many people. People from Tiantai were observing quietly. They wanted to see the potential candidates succeed. Those who managed to go to Tiantai are already quite numerous, I think. There are many strong cultivators in this world, said Chou Yuexin. She sighed. Like the master said, this is as hard as reaching the clouds, but still so many people want to try. Yuexin, you belong to a rich and powerful family. You inherited incredible abilities. You're noble. You've never suffered. How can you understand poor and weak people's feelings? Whispered Lin Feng. Weak people can't protect their parents. Cowards can't protect their loved ones. When bullied, they can only hope to become stronger. Strong people look at them and despise them and humiliate them. That's the life of us weak people. Chou Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and smiled. I understand that because that's the world of cultivation. If you're not strong, you can't do much and nobody will respect you. Like those stairs, only the strongest people can make it to the top. The higher you go, the fewer people there are around you. You're right. People like you belong to the lower layers of society. And surprisingly, you dare talk about such profound topics with Miss Chiu, said someone at that moment. Chou Yuexin and Lin Feng turned around and saw Yang Zilan, Yang Ziyi, and some other people. Miss Chiu, I trust you have been well since we last met, said Yang Zilan coldly. He was still angry because of what happened last time. There are always those people who think they're the best, who want to humiliate others, even if they are despicable. Those kind of people are weak yet self-confident. In the world of strong cultivators, those people are trash and are worthless. They don't understand true cultivation principles. They are lucky to have rich families, but all in all, they are nobodies and they end up dead. Lin Feng said as if he hadn't seen Yang Zilan and the others. However, he was implicitly talking about them and Yang Zilan looked furious. You're right, many people end up dying. Very often, your conditions at birth determine the rest of your life. If you come from a rich and powerful family, you can despise other people. If you come from a poor family, you have to take great efforts. What a rich and talented cultivator can do in 10 battles, a poor cultivator can do in 1,000 battles. Unfortunately, those poor cultivators often die in their first attempts. Rich cultivators then look at their corpses in a despising way and then everybody immediately forgets about them, said Yang Zilan. Look at their corpses in a despising way, said Lin Feng with a cold smile. Then he pointed at Yang Ziyi and said, she has broken through to the same cultivation layer as me. Yang Ziyi comes from the Yang clan, a prestigious, powerful and rich clan. What you mean to say is that she can despise me because I'll always be weaker. Well, what about a fight between her and I? What? Yang Zilan stared at Lin Feng. He wouldn't have thought that someone would actually challenge his sister. Why not, said Yang Ziyi coldly. She envied Qiu Yuxian who was so much stronger than her. She wanted to show everyone that she was as strong as her. Now, a stranger who was with Qiu Yuxian was challenging her. Qiu Yuxian and Yang Zilan moved away. Yang Ziyi faced Lin Feng. She couldn't recognize him with his mask. I want to see how an unknown and weak person can challenge me, said Yang Ziyi walking forwards. She released blood strength and threw herself at Lin Feng with remarkable speed. Lin Feng condensed invisible strength in his hands and slowly raised them. Boom boom. Lin Feng condensed the force of the earth and sky in his hands and blocked her punch. Yang Ziyi's energies immediately disappeared and her fist felt very sore. She was aghast. How could Lin Feng be so strong? Boom boom. Another explosion sounded as Yang Zilan attacked and destroyed Lin Feng's punch to protect Yang Ziyi. Yang Zilan looked at Lin Feng and asked, who are you? I'm a candidate to become an imperial cultivation disciple. So, do you despise people like me? Said Lin Feng smiling. Proud people are always like that, they think they can despise anyone and in the end I always wonder why they act so confidently. If such people traveled alone, they'd die quickly. How pathetic. Shut up, said Yang Zilan furiously. Insects can also become dragons if they take great efforts, not like incapable show-offs, said Lin Feng mockingly. Then he added, dragons and snakes can't mix. Yuxian, let's climb the stairs. Chapter 10-19. Geniuses together. Yang Zilan looked at Lin Feng and Qiu Yuxian. He was furious. He was really upset about his luck the past several days. First Lin Feng, then the guy from the Qiu clan, then this one. He had lost 2 boats and was continuously humiliated. Now Yuxian was with a new handsome young man who had humiliated him again. That guy had also only broken through to the 3rd Tianqi layer. Insects can also reach the clouds, you say? Show me how many steps you can climb, said Yang Zilan coldly. Come, let's go too, said Yang Zilan to his group. In the distance, some people saw them. The leader of that group said, the Qiu clan and the Yang clan are going up, how could we, the Lin clan, stay behind? Then they also started climbing the stairs. I wouldn't have thought that the Qiu clan, the Lin clan and the Yang clan would go up at the same time. Let's go too, said another group of people at that moment. They belonged to the Meng clan, so how could they stay behind? At that moment 2 people were going up, and it seemed like they didn't sense the energies of the stairs at all. They were moving without the slightest pause. Who are those people? Thought the crowd was gasping in amazement. Many people noticed them. Qiu Yuxian and a boy, could it be Lin Feng? Has he been revived? Whispered some people. Everybody knew that Qiu Yuxian had fallen in love with Lin Feng, and that she had tried to kill Qiu Lin and Qiu Mei and Yang Zilan to avenge Lin Feng. Yang Zilan and the others are behind them. Many people noticed Yang Zilan and the others too. They were very fast. There are more people behind them. Then they saw some other people who were moving just as fast. The Lin clan, Lin Ruotian. Interesting, the Qiu clan, the Yang clan and the Lin clan are climbing together. Some people laughed. They were excited. Who was going to win? Look behind them, there are even more people, said someone else. The Meng clan was behind them all. They're all there. People were gasping with amazement. All those geniuses from rich and powerful clans. They were different from other people because their clans had existed since the antiquity, and they had ancient techniques and skills. Their corporeal bodies were stronger as well. They want to prove to each other that their clan is the best, thought the crowd. They couldn't wait to see what was going to happen. It was almost over. Like Xian Yuan had said, neither Tian level nor Zun level cultivators had managed to surpass him. The second best had managed to go up the fourth group of steps only. Could the other famous geniuses surpass him? They're really strong anyways, they don't need to stop on the way, thought the crowd. Even though they knew that they couldn't succeed, they had come anyways to give it a try. For them, arriving near the first group of steps wasn't too overwhelming. Very quickly, 2 people arrived at the foot of the 9 last groups of steps. Qiu Yu Xian took a deep breath. Lin Feng looked indifferent as if nothing had happened. Qiu Yu Xian smiled wryly when she saw that Lin Feng was perfectly fine. She knew that everybody had underestimated Lin Feng, and only she knew how strong he was. She hadn't forgotten that Lin Feng had used Chou Junluo's silver wings. She knew what it meant. However, she had never seen Lin Feng use his own spirit. He needs more time, that's all, thought Qiu Yu Xian. She knew that even though Lin Feng's cultivation level was low, he just needed more time. Who's the guy with Qiu Yu Xian? He looks so calm and relaxed. He must be quite strong. Nobody recognized Lin Feng, but he did look calm. He had to be extraordinary anyways, otherwise, Qiu Yu Xian wouldn't have shown any interest in him. They were confused though, didn't Qiu Yu Xian like Lin Feng? How could the cold-hearted girl have a new boyfriend so fast? Lin Feng and Qiu Yu Xian turned around. They hadn't thought there would be so many people behind them, so they were surprised. Who are they? Asked Lin Feng. Lin Ruotian from the Lin clan and Meng Ba from the Meng clan, replied Qiu Yu Xian. Lin Feng understood that they were all disciples from prestigious and rich clans. Let's go, said Qiu Yu Xian. Wait for them now that they're here, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Very quickly Yang Zilan arrived too. He took a deep breath and glanced at Qiu Yu Xian and Lin Feng in a cold way. Lin Ruotian and his people, as well as Meng Ba and his people, arrived too. Many geniuses from rich and powerful families had arrived at the foot of the 9 last groups of steps. Qiu Lin and Qiu Mei are there too. I hadn't noticed, said someone. However, nobody paid attention to them. Qiu Yu Xian was the real symbol of the Qiu clan in people's eyes. Haha, since we all belong to the strongest families of the northern part of Bahuang province. Let's see who's the strongest, said Meng Ba laughing loudly. We're first, said Meng Ba and started walking on the first group of steps. Boom boom boom, explosion sounded. Meng Ba arrived on the second group of steps. He didn't even release qi. He was just relying on physical strength alone. He was as strong as a mountain, it seemed. Why aren't you all coming? I'm waiting for you here, said Meng Ba to the rest of the group. He was strong. The Meng clan had antique techniques to make their corporeal body stronger. They had an incredible physical strength. Just like Xian Yuan, he had directly gone to the second group of steps without any effort. For an insect who wants to reach the clouds, you're not moving much. Let's see if an insect can reach the second group of steps, said Yang Zilan coldly, and then started walking onto the first group of steps. His hair and clothes were violently fluttering in the wind. In a flash, he reached the second group of steps. He wasn't as fast as Meng Ba, but still, he wasn't too bad. Lin Ruotian followed and reached the second group of steps as well. Everybody then looked at Lin Feng and Qiu Yu Xian. They both smiled and walked up at the same time. Qiu Yu Xian, unlike the previous time, could go up without any problem. Lin Feng wasn't fast but looked extremely relaxed, despite the strong wind. It was incredible to see. It was as if he walking up normal stairs. So easy, said Lin Feng and Qiu Yu Xian while smiling at Yang Zilan as they arrived on the first step of the second group. Chapter 1020. Fourth group of stairs. Yang Zilan smiled coldly. It's only the second group of stairs. No need to think you're strong. Insects can easily make it this far. Let's see if you remain so confident now. Only the second group of steps, said Lin Feng with a cold smile. Last time your people said you would climb the 81 steps without any problem. You smiled indifferently as if it was obvious. Now let's see if you can really do it. I trust you can though, because you're an incredible genius. I can't wait to see you looking triumphant at the top of the 9th group of steps. You'll despise Xian Yuan then, said Lin Feng mockingly. Yang Zilan heard Lin Feng and was petrified. Xian Yuan put a foot on the first step of the sixth group of steps and had taken it back. From then on, everybody understood how difficult reaching the ninth group of steps would be. Actually, they even understood that it was impossible. Yang Zilan, since you said that, I want to see you do it, said Mengba laughing frantically. Yang Zilan pulled a long face and coldly glanced at Lin Feng. Since we're all climbing the stairs together, there's no need to talk shit. Let's go together. Let's see how far this insect can go, said Yang Zilan mockingly looking at Lin Feng. Then he continued going up. Lin Feng shook his head and smiled coldly. Yang Zilan was just ridiculous. Talking to such people was useless. There's no need to take too many efforts. The most important thing is to understand the force of the earth and sky, said Lin Feng gently smiling at Qiu Yuxian, who nodded back. Lin Feng was giving her some advice. Their cultivation level wasn't the most important thing at that moment. They needed to understand the exam properly as well. Xian Yuan had imperial blood, so he used his particular blood strength to get up the stairs. Nobody else could copy that. Mengba was the fastest. He was incredibly strong and had an explosive power. His steps emitted explosion sounds. Very quickly, he arrived on the ninth step of the second group. One more step and he'd reach the third group of steps. Lin Ruotian and Yang Zilan were moving at the same speed. Lin Feng and Qiu Yuxian didn't rush and stayed behind. Lin Feng still didn't sense anything. He had practiced cultivation there for 3 days just a short time before. He understood how the staircase worked. He understood how the force of the earth and sky was used there. Very quickly, they all arrived on the first step of the third group of steps. The next steps were the third group. Lin Feng raised his head. The sadhu hadn't allowed him to come up this high last time, unfortunately. Are you all right? Lin Feng asked Qiu Yuxian. I'm good, replied Qiu Yuxian. She wrapped herself up in pure qi. Yang Zilan and Lin Ruotian did the same. Boom! Yang Zilan and Lin Ruotian started shaking violently. Their pure qi was emitting roaring sounds. They managed to keep their balance and step onto the first step of the third group. All right, shouted Mengba furiously. His hair was fluttering in the wind chaotically. He trampled on the staircase and made it shake violently. You go, said Lin Feng to Qiu Yuxian. Qiu Yuxian nodded and moved towards the third group of steps. Her hair started fluttering violently and her clothes as well. She looked beautiful. And very quickly she managed to keep her balance and control the force. All right, said Qiu Yuxian with a smile. Lin Feng nodded and continued walking too. Everybody thought Lin Feng would get propelled away at that moment, but they were disappointed. Lin Feng stepped onto the first step of the third group too. He was motionless like a mountain. Surprisingly, he managed to come up too, thought Yang Zilan. No wonder they're from rich families, thought the crowd. Apart from all those people, there were other people behind them. Some were still on the second group of steps. Enjoy it, you're just lucky, said Yang Zilan to Lin Feng coldly. His eyes were filled with hatred. He then turned around and continued. They all continued. Some were slow, some were faster than others. Everybody was expecting to see someone get propelled away. Especially Lin Feng. But the crowd realized Lin Feng, just like the others, was going up without any problem. Lin Feng arrived on the last step of the third group of steps but didn't take the yellow key. He moved again. What is he doing? Thought the crowd, astonished. There were at most 100 people who could go that high. An insect can be resistant but not for long. In the end, dragons crush insects under their feet, said Yang Zilan, releasing pure qi and blood strength. He started using his blood strength. Lin Ruotian also used blood strength like Yang Zilan. It was getting too difficult. Qiu Yuxian looked at Lin Feng and used blood strength as well. Boom! Lin Ruotian and Yang Zilan stepped onto the first step of the fourth group of steps. They suddenly felt like they were going to explode and get crushed by those oppressive forces. For a few seconds it almost seemed like they were going to fail, but finally they managed to steady their balance. Art! Mengba groaned violently. It was harder for him to reach the fourth group of steps than it had been for Lin Ruotian and Yang Zilan. Yang Ziyi was using her full strength to reach the fourth group of steps. Let's see if you manage to make it up here, said Yang Zilan to Lin Feng in a despising way. It seems like one of them will fail. Let's see if Lin Ruotian, Yang Zilan, Qiu Yu Xian and Meng Ba will manage to do as good as Xian Yuan, thought the crowd. However, Lin Feng glanced at Yang Zi indifferently, ignored her and continued. He started condensing pure qi as well as wind intent. Boom! When Lin Feng stepped onto the first step of the fourth group of steps, he had the feeling he was being attacked. Everybody looked at Lin Feng. It seemed painful. Surprisingly, he had decided to continue. He should have taken the key from the third group of steps. However, Lin Feng managed to keep his balance as well. Lin Feng was using authentic force, the force of the earth and the sky. He did it, thought the crowd. Lin Feng had managed to reach the fourth group of steps. Yang Zilan was astonished too. He kept making fun of Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had managed to make it as far as him. Chapter 10:21. Lin Feng defying the skies. Lin Feng was sensing the force of the earth and sky. They were all hanging on there firmly. They couldn't afford being careless, otherwise they would be crushed under the pressure. Moron, you can't move any further, go back now, said Yang Zilan coldly. Then he continued walking up step by step. He had to stop after each step. You go first, said Lin Feng to Qiu Yu Xian. She nodded and continued going up. She stopped after each step too. She couldn't afford being careless. All the geniuses from the prestigious families have continued to go up. The crowd was amazed. Those people were getting closer and closer to reaching Xian Yuan's record. However, the weakest were probably stuck now, they couldn't go back or forward. Rumbling sounds spread in the air each time they moved up. Finally, 4 of them stopped on the 9th step of the 4th group of steps. They didn't look relaxed at all. Humph! Yang Zilan turned around and coldly looked at Lin Feng. Poor you, you're going to be propelled away, even though you came so far. However, at that moment Lin Feng smiled mockingly, and it was a huge smile. Lin Feng moved and continued going up. He looked absolutely relaxed, as if he was walking in normal conditions. The crowd couldn't believe it. Lin Feng just walked up to the 9th step of the 4th group, leaving them all dumbstruck. How's that possible? We don't even know him, thought the crowd. Yang Zilan seemed like he had reached his limits, and Lin Feng had done the same as him, but in a more relaxed way. Are you satisfied now? Said Lin Feng indifferently. Yang Zilan looked to suffer more from seeing Lin Feng succeed than from the force of the flight of stairs. He felt weak. Who's joining me higher up? Said Meng Ba with a resplendent smile. The others' faces twitched. Meng Ba wanted to continue? Did he really want to do the same as Meng Ba? You should set reasonable goals. If we can't reach the last step of the 5th group, we'll lose everything. It's better to stop here, said Yang Zilan indifferently. Lin Ruotian remained silent for a few seconds and tried to put a foot on the next step. However, he immediately took it back. Nah, I'm not going, said Lin Ruotian indifferently. Since you're not coming, I'll continue. I'm having fun with this, said Meng Ba. Meng Ba's clothes were suddenly ripped apart. He groaned as he sensed the incredible force crushing his flesh. He felt like he was going to be crushed. Veins appeared all over his body. Boom boom. Explosion sounds spread in the air. Some of his veins actually broke and blood appeared. He looked like a violent injured beast had attacked him. Meng Ba groaned loudly with pain and continued walking up. It was as if his feet were millions of kilos. He reached the 9th step of the 5th group and grabbed a blue key. Then he instantly disappeared. Meng Ba managed to finish the 5th group of steps. The crowd was gasping with amazement. Lin Ruotian and Yang Zilan's eyes were twinkling as well. He's much stronger than you, said Lin Feng to Yang Zilan. Shut the hell up. You're just lucky to be here. You're a tiny little insect. Yang Zilan snapped back. Lin Feng smiled and released blood strength as well as pure qi. He also started circulating his strength of the Haruka and the Buddha to flow through his body. He then started walking up the 5th group of steps. People were wondering what he was doing. Qiu Yu Xian was gasping with amazement. Lin Feng would go farther than her. Boom boom. When Lin Feng set a foot on the 5th group of steps, he sensed that the energies there were much more terrifying. But he could still handle them. He stopped for a few seconds. He looked relaxed. He turned around and looked at Yang Zilan. An insect is standing above you. How do you feel? Lin Feng mocked him calmly. However, people's thoughts were racing. How did he feel? Nobody knew how Yang Zilan felt at that moment. Was he still confident? If I'm an insect, you're even less than an insect. Lin Feng's words were penetrating deep into Yang Zilan's heart. He was less valuable than an insect? Boom boom. Lin Feng's voice kept piercing through Yang Zilan's eardrums, as well as the sound Lin Feng's steps made as he went higher up. Lin Feng then arrived on the 9th step of the 5th group of steps. There was the blue key floating there. Astonishing, wouldn't have thought that guy would do as good as Xian Yuan and Meng Ba, thought the crowd. Lin Feng had done what Xian Yuan did. Yang Zilan was clenching his fists. He felt humiliated. We'll see each other in Tiantai in a few seconds, said Qiu Yuxian smiling. Lin Feng shook his head. Qiu Yuxian didn't understand. Lin Feng continued, when Xian Yuan arrived here, he said nobody could go further. Even though he is incredibly strong, he was wrong. What? Did Lin Feng want to surpass Xian Yuan? Go and die, said Yang Zilan mockingly. Shut up, shouted Lin Feng furiously. He then said coldly, you're a weakling and a coward. You're lower than me, so don't even talk to me. Yang Zilan was furious. Insects give up easily and are not aware of their own strength. Meng Ba decided to climb the 5th group of steps because he loves challenges. It was challenging for him to get the blue key. Now I'll go even higher. That's my challenge, said Lin Feng, making people feel vehement. Then Lin Feng took another step. Boom boom. An incredible force appeared around Lin Feng. His hair was fluttering in the wind. It seemed like he was facing a hurricane. Was he going to fall down? Real cultivators don't give up. Real cultivators don't care about material things. They challenge the earth and sky. We know human and earth fusion. I understand the force of the earth and sky. How could the sky be stronger than me? Said Lin Feng, looking at the sky. Die. He looked like he was in a trance. It was an extraordinary scene. Chapter 1022. The force of the sky. If the sky challenges me, then I accept the challenge. That stranger was insane. His voice was piercing through people's eardrums. They had the feeling they were listening to a madman. Qiu Yuxian was clenching her fists. She was proud. Lin Feng was a real cultivator. He was determined. Yang Zilan and all the other members of the Yang clan pulled long faces. They despised people like Lin Feng, but he had surpassed them and even Xian Yuan. Lin Feng looked at the sky and groaned loudly. His strength of the Haruka, pure qi and intent were flowing throughout his body. At the same time, he was holding his Tianxian stone, sensing the force of the earth and sky. The earth and the sky seemed particularly clear and distinct to him. Boom! Lin Feng made another step and stopped for a second. Who had said Lin Feng was doomed? Boom boom! Another step. The scene looked incredible. People's hearts were pounding. Lin Feng was defying the skies. Boom boom boom, one step, another step. Lin Feng arrived on the 9th step of the 6th group of steps. There was a light blue key that Lin Feng could take, and he would immediately be transferred to Tiantai. Phew, people took a deep breath. What was Lin Feng going to do? The sadhu had told everyone the keys were better at higher levels. If Lin Feng took that light blue key, he would probably have an insane advantage, or at least what he would get would be better than with the blue key. Qiu Yuxian smiled in a resplendent way. She was so happy for Lin Feng and proud of him. Awesome. Take the key, said Qiu Yuxian with a magnificent smile. She was going to take the green key and Lin Feng the light blue key. She was happy for him. His success was her happiness. See you in Tiantai in a few seconds, shouted Qiu Yuxian. However, Lin Feng didn't react. Lin Feng slowly shook his head, which made her heart race again. What was Lin Feng going to do? I am not done, said Lin Feng. His voice was hoarse and deep. Could he go higher? He had already surpassed Xian Yuan. Why did he want to continue? Did he really want to defy the skies? Lin Feng, whispered Qiu Yuxian. She didn't know what to say. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the skies. His words about what being a real cultivator meant were echoing in her brain. "You can do it," said Cho Yuxian suddenly with a resplendent smile. She felt good. Lin Feng made her feel happy. "You're a real cultivator. As a cultivator, you accepted to defy the laws of the earth and sky. If you fail, it doesn't matter because what you did is incredible already. And if you fail, then I don't care. I won't go to Tiantai and I'll stay with you." "What?" The crowd was dumbstruck. "What? Who was that guy for Cho Yuxian?" Yang Zilan was astonished. Since he had seen Lin Feng, he wondered who he was. Cho Yuxian was the beautiful cold-hearted woman of Bahuang province. She had fallen in love with Lin Feng, and because Lin Feng had died, she had tried to kill Cho Lin, Cho Mei, and even him, Yang Zilan. He had heard a lot about Cho Yuxian's personality. She was stubborn. At that moment, Yang Zilan was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. His eyes were twinkling. When the Yang clan went to the Cho clan to seek revenge, it was a disaster for the Cho clan. However, until the very last minute, they denied flatly that the guy who had appeared was a member of their clan. Whispered Yang Zilan. He had a strange feeling. "You're Lin Feng, you're not dead," shouted Yang Zilan suddenly. Cho Yuxian was surprised. Lin Feng, the crowd was astonished. Wasn't Lin Feng dead? Cho Yuxian had fallen in love with Lin Feng, and now she had come with a guy and they seemed too close. Everybody started staring at Lin Feng with more scrutiny. People were speechless. "You're not as stupid as I thought," said Lin Feng at that moment. He raised his hand, put it on his face and took off his mask. He looked younger and even more handsome now. "Lin Feng," said Yang Zilan coldly. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng hadn't died. Cho Yuxian's boyfriend was there. Even though his cultivation level was low, Lin Feng was a good match for Cho Yuxian because he was strong and determined. Because he was a real cultivator. "You're not dead. Was it you last time as well?" said Yang Zilan, thinking about the guy from the Cho clan who stole his boat. "Do you think I have a silver-winged spirit? I just used Cho Junluo's corpse. I took out his dead soul and used it to control him," said Lin Feng coldly. "You're evil. You're a demon," said Yang Zilan. He believed what Lin Feng said. Of course Lin Feng couldn't have the spirit of the Cho clan. So Lin Feng's explanation made sense. "Evil? I was nice to your clan and you humiliated me. You even tried to kill me. Now you keep insulting me, yet I'm evil?" said Lin Feng. He turned around and continued walking onto the 7th group of steps. People were in disbelief. "Real cultivators control the earth, not the opposite way around," whispered Lin Feng. He continued walking up. Arg arg. It was as if the staircase was going to break and collapse. Boom boom. Lin Feng knelt down. His blood seemed like it was going to explode. "The earth and sky have force. Cultivators can use force. I am a cultivator, therefore I can control the force of the earth and sky." Lin Feng sounded determined. The force of the earth and sky was also something incredible and mysterious. Lin Feng put a hand on the step and slowly rose up again. Everybody could hear the strength, force and energies flowing throughout his body. Lin Feng was one with the earth and sky. Celestial forces, nature, immaterial world, selflessness, nothing is impossible, there are no limits. Lin Feng was chanting a mantra. "Cultivators can defy the laws of the earth and sky. I am a cultivator." Kacha. Lin Feng was standing fast and was surrounded by a cloud of force. He could use the force of the earth and sky. Cultivators can defy the laws of the earth and sky. I am a cultivator. Lin Feng looked at the sky and a hurricane appeared around him. It was composed of the force of the earth and sky. It wasn't attacking Lin Feng was using it. Boom! Lin Feng continued going up. His pure qi was becoming stronger as well. Lin Feng was becoming stronger. Chapter 1023. 9th Group of Steps. How incredible! The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng could use the force of the earth and sky to an incredible degree. He was becoming stronger even and his pure qi was becoming stronger too. Boom boom. Another series of loud sounds spread in the air, but Lin Feng kept climbing the stairs. The force of the staircase wasn't oppressing him anymore. It was actually helping him. What is going on? How's that even possible? Yang Ziyi was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. She couldn't believe her eyes. She had thought that Lin Feng saved her because he wanted to have sex with her, as Yang Zilan had told her. She hadn't defended Lin Feng when Yang Zilan said he wanted Lin Feng to die. They had humiliated Lin Feng over and over again. Now Lin Feng was the real hero of the event. Her future husband, Xian Yuan, said he would rank first amongst Tian-level cultivators, but Lin Feng had already beaten him. Lin Feng was enjoying a landslide victory. He hadn't surpassed Xian Yuan by a little bit either. He was already on the 7th group of steps and wasn't stopping. Besides, the force of the staircase was not hindering him anymore. Lin Feng was using it to progress. His cultivation level was increasing thanks to his incredible understanding. Boom boom. Lin Feng continued. The force was penetrating into his body. It was as if he was absorbing a lake of force. Boom. Lin Feng released an incredible qi. His qi was now different. It had the strength of the 4th Tian qi layer. Incredible. Lin Feng was really becoming stronger on that staircase. What? He broke through to the 4th Tian qi layer. How incredible. Astonishing. The crowd was astonished. That way too incredible. Lin Feng was becoming stronger during the exam. He would be difficult to defeat in the future. The sadhu was in the sky, smiling with satisfaction as we watched Lin Feng. Lin Feng was incredible. He was so young but already so strong. No wonder his fellow disciples liked him. Lin Feng was going up step by step. After breaking through to the 4th Tian qi layer, he continued. Lin Feng didn't stop. He arrived on the last step of the 7th group and stopped. What will he do now? Thought the crowd. This time nobody thought he would stop. Everybody thought he was going to continue. Everybody was fixedly staring at Lin Feng, wondering what he was going to do. They hoped he would continue. I accepted the challenge of the earth and sky, and I became stronger. A real cultivator remains determined and doesn't give up. If the earth and sky want a war, then I accept, said Lin Feng with a serious and solemn smile. He looked like an enlightened being. He then stepped onto the first step of the 8th group of steps. Boom! The earth and sky turned into a gigantic hand which fell down from the sky. Lin Feng groaned and blood splashed out of his mouth. He managed to keep his balance, but he had bruises all over his body. Of course, he had broken through to the 4th Tian qi layer, so his corporeal body had become even stronger. Lin Feng's gums and teeth were soaked with blood, but he was still smiling. Lin Feng looked at the sky and said, "You stepped on me, but I felt nothing." Boom boom boom. Lin Feng condensed more strength and continued. At the same time, he continued studying the force of the earth and the sky. If the sky can't defeat him, who can? Thought many people in the crowd. They felt like they were dreaming. They would have never thought that anyone would manage to do what Lin Feng had now done. He's going higher up. People were petrified, excited. It was incredible. They were already speechless when Lin Feng had started walking onto the 6th group of steps. Now he had reached the 8th one. Lin Feng didn't stop. Nobody and nothing could stop him. Maybe he would succeed, maybe he would fail, but in any case he had this accomplishment. Do you think he'll try to step onto the 9th one as well? Said some people. He's up there. Lin Feng arrived on the 9th step of the 8th group of steps. People were speechless. Nobody could believe their eyes. He was way more incredible than Xian Yuan. There was a white jade key floating in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng just had to take the white jade key, and he would be able to go to Tiantai with an incredible gift. The crowd was holding their breath. What was he going to do? They all looked at the 9th group of steps. Was he going to try? If Lin Feng failed there, he wouldn't have a second chance. That would also be the end for him. He would never become an imperial cultivation disciple. It was too dangerous. It was better to stop. Do you want to try? The sadhu asked. People were surprised. The master was talking to Lin Feng. Think carefully. If you fail and can't stand it, you'll lose everything, said the sadhu. Lin Feng nodded. He obviously understood. I'll try though, said Lin Feng. The sadhu smiled and nodded. I won't prevent you from trying. Will he be able to endure it? Thought the crowd. What was going to happen? Lin Feng raised his head. He looked solemn and respectful. Lin Feng started. People's hearts were racing. Gotcha. And then it was as if their hearts stopped. They were watching Lin Feng fixedly and breathlessly and motionlessly. Lin Feng put a foot on the first step of the 9th group of steps, but there was absolutely no strength or force. Lin Feng walked up easily. What's going on? How is that possible? How come it looks so easy? Master. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the sadhu. There was nothing on the last group of steps. You did it. Congratulations. You can take the Imperial Zun key. Congratulations again. That is the symbol of your glory, said the sadhu slowly. The crowd was astonished. The last group of steps was a symbol of glory, it was just symbolic. Imperial Zun key. Chapter 1024. In Tiantai it was a symbol. The crowd looked at Lin Feng with the highest respect. People had come from everywhere for Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process. There were many geniuses from everywhere in the province and even from abroad. Most of those strong cultivators had only managed to climb up to the 3rd group of steps. Very few had managed to climb the 4th one, and only 2 had managed to climb the 5th one. Meng Ba and Xian Yuan. Only one person had managed to surpass them, and that someone wasn't very famous. That young man had climbed the 9 last groups of steps fearlessly. That young man was Lin Feng. People had heard about Lin Feng before, first because he had rescued Yang Ziyi, and had been humiliated by them, then because Qiu Yu Xian had fallen in love with him. However, this time everybody would remember Lin Feng as the man who climbed the 9 last groups of steps at Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's recruitment process. When Lin Feng heard the sadhu, he smiled and bowed. It was pure luck. I wasn't sure I could do it. You relied on your corporeal strength, your indomitable determination, your strong analytical and understanding abilities, and you were fearless. That is not luck. You are the true master of your destiny. Alright, let's move on. Let's go to Tiantai, said the sadhu smiling. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. He turned around and smiled at Yang Zilan. Yang Zilan had the impression that Lin Feng was making fun of him, and that annoyed him. Yu Xian, see you in Tiantai in a few seconds, said Lin Feng, smiling at Qiu Yu Xian. She was also smiling in a resplendent way. Lin Feng had managed to climb all the stairs. The news would spread quickly in Tianjing City. Even the Zhou clan would respect him. Lin Feng slowly turned around. He looked at the golden Imperial Zun key. According to the sadhu, that was the best key. What advantage would he get with it? Lin Feng grabbed the key, golden lights surrounded his body, and in a flash, he appeared somewhere else. It was a vast area filled with people. Lin Feng turned around and walked towards the edge of the place. The sadhu was sitting cross-legged in the sky, and there were the stairs down there. Lin Feng turned around and gazed into the distance. There were incredible palaces. The qi there was pure and celestial. It was similar to the qi in the Jade Emperor's room in his palace. Tiantai, an imperial place, whispered Lin Feng. Tiantai was a small world, and the emperors were granting access to those who could climb the stairs. They opened the doors to Tiantai only to recruit imperial cultivation disciples. The people around Lin Feng had managed to make it there because they had obtained a key. Everyone was calm. Nobody could cause trouble in Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's territory. They all calmly waited for the exam to start. But at that moment, Lin Feng realized that there was something wrong. Everybody was staring at him. He was standing higher than everyone else, as if he was their leader. 2 other people were close to Lin Feng but lower than him. Xian Yuan and Meng Ba. Just under them there weren't too many people. Qiu Yu Xian, Lin Ruotian, Yang Zilan. The lower the more people there were. It's like a podium, thought Lin Feng. Besides, Lin Feng found out that there were only Tian-level cultivators there. Zun cultivators had probably ended up in another place. It's so cold, thought Lin Feng. Meng Ba and Xian Yuan were surprised to see Lin Feng there. Xian Yuan looked furious. What was going on? How was that even possible? He had climbed up 5 groups of steps, had obtained a blue key, and had said nobody could surpass him. After that, many people had joined him in Tiantai and they were all lower than him. However, in the end, Mengba appeared next to him. If only one person could do the same as he had done, fine, no problem. But someone had done better than him? That made him furious. You, said Xianyuan. He remembered Lin Feng, the guy in the dragon palace with his beast. He had stolen treasures. Good to see you again, said Lin Feng, smiling at Xianyuan. I wouldn't have thought that you'd managed to climb 6 groups of steps. In the dragon palace you had only broken through to the 2nd Tianqi layer, but now you've broken through to the 4th Tianqi layer. What treasures did you get there? Asked Xianyuan coldly. Had Lin Feng climbed only 6 groups of steps? And had he obtained treasures in the dragon palace which helped him become this strong? Who told you I climbed up 6 groups of steps? Said Lin Feng with a cold smile. Concerning the treasures I obtained in the dragon palace, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. I don't trust you anyways. Xianyuan groaned coldly. But it doesn't matter. No matter what you obtained, I'll steal your treasures for myself. You're just a nobody in my eyes. Xianyuan then suddenly released ice-cold energies and stood up. He wanted to attack Lin Feng. Sit down, shouted an overwhelming voice at that moment. He raised his head and saw someone in the sky. He suddenly looked scared. It was Ho Qinglin. He had already humiliated Xianyuan back in Black Crow Village. You better not cause trouble here in Tiantai. And who do you think you are to insult other people? Said Ho Qinglin. I am Xianyuan and I have imperial blood. Even if you don't like me, there's no need to insult me, said Xianyuan proudly. I don't care who your ancestors are, or what your blood is like. All I know is that you climbed up 5 groups of steps and he climbed up 9. So who do you think you are to insult him? Said Ho Qinglin coldly. Xianyuan looked dumbstruck. 9 groups of steps? He was dazed. Not only him, everybody else. Someone had managed to climb up 9 groups of steps? Maybe you enjoy humiliating people who have a lower cultivation level than yours. Well, in my eyes you're nothing. You're much weaker than me, said Ho Qinglin. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.